Twitch, we are live. Welcome back for the 5th session of the Forbidden Lands, the Hanging Stones. Bum, bum, bum. Everybody say hello.
Hello.
On.
I only heard like one person.
It was like a Mexican standoff. Hello.
All right, let's do it.
There we go.
All right, when last we left our heroes, they have just departed the Hollows, and they are traveling with 2 exiles. Mrs. Pullmore, the village elder of the Hollows, a hostile and cranky old lady who they just got ousted from town by the dwarven brewmaster Yawim, who is now the new town elder, by order of the mob. And her maid, Dahlia, who is bringing a feather duster into the wilderness, if that says anything about her level of preparedness. She's dragging along pots and pans.
I'm also dragging along pots and pans.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Okay, that's reasonable then. They grabbed everything they could in a hurry and got out of town. And you came running up behind them, declaring that you would accompany them into the wilderness. Dahlia has tears streaming down her face of gratitude and says, if you will just accompany them as far as Amber's Peak, it will certainly mean a lot. She's fearful. She knows where they're headed only in name and by rumor, but knows very little about the place or how to get there or how far it is. Neither of them has ever been out of their own hometown, as far as you know. And old lady Pullmore, Aimee, I'm echoing through your microphone, or I'm echoing through your speakers somehow.
My bad. Okay.
I don't know, but when I talk, I'm getting little blips back through you.
Is that better?
Testing? Yes.
I just turned the volume in my headphones up too loud, I guess. My
Yeah, it was
microphone's
just...
like
Oh,
too sensitive.
it was coming through the headphones and hitting the mic. It must have been, yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're setting off into unknown wilderness. This is a very open-ended session. Every DM's nightmare. There's like 100 places they could end up, but hopefully this makes for good viewing because anything is possible here.
Split the party.
Probably planned for 0.
Split the party, go in 5 different directions. I can handle it. Nobody wants to watch that, but you know.
Dahlia, how many days travel is Amber's Peak from here?
I don't know. We've had a handful of merchants and travelers from that town come through our way. I feel like it's a ways. We've only had 3 or 4 over the last 2 years. I know that it's to the southeast across the plains, and that's as much as I know. To be honest, I don't even know how big these plains are. I've lived in the Hollows my whole life.
Probably pretty massive, so I'd prepare yourself for that.
Miss Polymore, surely you have more knowledge than that, being the town elder and governor of the Hollows. Do you know what roads they took?
Oh, I'm supposed to know everything? Not this foul-smelling, tattooed wilderness wanderer? You don't know? You don't know?
Okay. Let's set off, then.
Would I have any knowledge through story or otherwise of where it might be? Or are they getting more
so we made lore rolls last time, and we got
Did we?
a couple of successes. So there could be... I gave you a bit of lore background, but I didn't give you any geography. But I think we got 1 success on a lore roll just before we were done. It's actually still in the chat there from last time. Yeah. So you got 1 single success on a lore roll to know a little bit about Amber's Peak, and I'll give you an equally incomplete geographical picture of the situation. 1 sec.
Good.
But let me look at the real answer so that I can give you something.
Something about an evil wizard. That's all I caught.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zatorm? Is that his name? Zatorm?
Zertorm, yeah.
Zertorm.
Sort of.
And
Yes,
you
half elf.
you knew a little bit of a legend about an evil sorcerer named Zygofer who led armies and conquered a substantial portion of the land, and you know of this lieutenant of his named Zertorm who supposedly went and became the ruler of Amber's Peak and possibly still lives after all these hundreds of years from the ages before the Blood Mist. Okay, so here's what you know. The region immediately outside of the Dankwood that you have just emerged into are called the Plains of Vivend. And Vivend has two regions, near Vivend and far Vivend, where far Vivend is, you believe, off to the east or northeast, and near Vivend is the plains that you're entering into now. They have on the southern border a large river called the Elya River, Elya, that marks the southern border of the plains of Vivend. There's a broad river delta called the Blush, which is known to be where the Saurian tribes live, which you are headed towards. And somewhere beyond that are the plains of Margelda, and Amber's Peak is in the heart of the plains of Margelda. So you don't have much of a sense of distances. You're not sure how far this is, but you know that you have to cross the plains of Vivend. You have to reach the Elya River and the delta known as the Blush, and then you have to cross into the plains of Margelda and find Amber's Peak somewhere in the heart of those plains. So you don't have numbers to put to these, and you've never seen a map of any of these. So you have a region, a river, and then another region before you reach Amber's Peak. And you also know that Amber's Peak is supposed to be near the mouth of a river itself. Because from what you've heard in the tales, there was mention of a river flowing through town.
Well, it sounds like we just need to head southeast.
Okay.
It is... Let me see what time of day it would be.
I think we did all the mutiny in the morning, didn't we?
I think you
Think
got the
so.
mutiny out of the way in the morning, and it would be
Yeah.
daytime when you go out
I think
traveling.
it's daytime.
All right, so
Mutiny.
Mutiny in the Morning. That's a good album
I love
name.
that. I love that podcast.
It's my favorite. I wake up to it every day.
Uh-huh.
Actually, at your job.
Too
This
real.
isn't refreshing until... How come things that used to work stop working? Okay.
No one knows.
There it is.
All right. I added other and undecided here because those seemed like they would be useful last time. It was a little ambiguous who had made their decisions yet and who had not. Mrs. Polmore and Dahlia each are going to have a D8 food and water die. And I will be making those rolls myself separately.
That is significantly higher than expected.
Mm-hmm.
They're hauling a ton of stuff. Over the course of the first day of travel or so, they're going to realize that they have to ditch things. And a lot of the food that they brought is going to spoil quickly, but enough of it is good to keep them at a D8. So,
Josh,
yes.
were we able to make new talent rolls while traveling? Was that determined?
You just have to take like a rest action while you do it. Something that's not making a die roll. Just put yourself in other
So
if you want to.
not-
If you make a die roll for a talent or something, it's just an other action for that quarter day.
I was just wondering, can we do that while everyone's hiking?
That's fine.
Can I practice dodging while I walk?
Oh yeah. I was actually going to backtrack a second, say if it's something that makes sense. If it's like cooking, you got to do it while you're stopped. If it's
I already got that.
if it's dodging, sure, you can be jumping around like a lunatic, going ha 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 the whole time you're marching along through the.
I mean,
rolling plains
if-
of Vivend.
I'm
If
picturing
Bellis
a
is
video
practicing-
game that shall remain unnamed.
If Bellis is practicing her knife abilities, I could just try and dodge that, like we're literally practicing with each other.
I'm
Mhm.
just like making it appear and throwing it at you, and then like making it appear in my hand again, and throwing it at you.
Wait, I'm not ready yet.
Mhm. All right.
I go to throw it, only halfway comes out of my arm. Ah, fuck!
Meanwhile, Ayan is babysitting this chaos as well as two ill-prepared women and slappy goblin feet.
Oh, we didn't have you taste the dirt yet.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, we did.
It was at the end of the
Oh.
last session. It's okay. No, you didn't forget. You didn't forget. And you still didn't. I'm proud of you.
She just doesn't want me to do it again.
All right. You can adjust your own audio levels for the background music
Stop
as you
showing the
like.
world your tongue.
Oops. 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 There we go. I can't check Discord messages without screwing up the cameras on the stream. I totally broke it all. Gotta do this
Man.
on my phone instead.
I gotta get to the Twitch stream and look
All
at how
right,
it's
there we go.
broken.
No, it's fixed now. All
If
right.
you don't watch us live, you should consider watching us every other Wednesday.
Every
on
other.
Twitch.
Yeah, at some point we're gonna get enough followers to post a schedule so that people know when we're gonna be live. But follow us if you want that to be a thing.
Survey shows that you're not following us. Do that.
Yes, statistically speaking, if you are a human, odds are you're not following our channel.
We have a lot of mole people followers.
Uh-huh.
Confession time. I just realized this week that I wasn't following the YouTube channel. I was like, why isn't it popping up? I was like, oh shit. Oops. So follow us.
And shortly after this session, yeah, follow us on YouTube. And shortly after this session, sometime in the next day or so, we're going to be posting character profile video that introduces the party members. Hopefully none of them die this session, because it would be really sucky if somebody was dead before their character profile got posted. But we'll do it
dibs.
either way. You know,
It'd be so ironic.
it would be amazing. All right. I think I'm still echoing through Aimee a little bit. I think that's because I got louder.
Damn. Sorry.
It's subtle, but I don't want it to bug people. Okay, so we're setting out into the plains of Vivend. I'm going to... I could have pre-rolled. I could have pre-picked. I could have been better prepped. But it goes against the spirit of this game to be that prepared. I'm not supposed to know what's going to happen until we roll the dice and see what happens. So good luck, ladies and gentlemen. And then if something eats you, I don't have to feel as bad about it because it's the dice's fault. But yeah, we're setting out into the rolling plains, and we're gonna let the game decide your fate. You go marching across the open plains of Vivend. There is warm sunshine when you set out from town, and over the course of 2 or 3 hours as you march, dark rain clouds roll in, and by late afternoon, it is pouring rain on you all, and everyone is drenched from head to toe and stepping through muddy, grassy plains. Your boots are stained and filthy, and yeah, it's not a good time. So let's go ahead and make rolls. Welcome back to the survival game. Dahlia and Mrs. Polmore are going to begin the day in the most useless way possible by just marching along. Because what else do they know how to do? One sec. I did it wrong.
Know how to do that.
I did not mean to do that. All right. All right. They're just going to hike. And so we have 3 hikers, 1 leader the wayer. And What are Vergello and Velas doing? Upgrading talents?
I'm gonna try
Yep.
and get a talent.
All right, cool. What talent are you doing?
I'm going to attempt knife fighter.
Okay. You're marching
Got this
along.
cool new knife.
And he's going, huh, 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 dodging. And everybody else is hiking, and Ian is leading the way. Let's
I attempt and I fail.
Oh, you failed?
Survival roll?
Okay. Yeah. Survival roll to lead the way. Let me pull it up so I can remember how it works.
I see a sword.
You were
That is a
dodging
success.
me too well.
All right.
Well enough.
You got a
You're both
success.
trying to practice talents
I
and
didn't get
fail.
a success.
No,
Oh,
he didn't.
Aang got a success.
Yeah. All right. So Velas is practicing knife fighting while walking, and Vergello is practicing dodging.
Fast footwork is the name of the talent.
Fast footwork, yeah. So he's dancing around, jumping up on rocks, going, huh, 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 while just traveling along, trying to keep himself busy. The rest of the group is merely walking, and we have successful marching to lead the way. All right, so let me check. Open terrain or difficult terrain. Okay, got it. Plains are open terrain. Just for future reference, I forgot to say this, but nobody did these rolls this quarter, so it didn't end up mattering. Plains, which you are traveling in now, count as open terrain. I'm still echoing through Aimee's mic.
I can't keep turning it down though, or I won't be able to hear you.
I don't
Is
know.
it coming out of your laptop speakers as well?
No.
You can turn down your mic's pickup sensitivity, though, can't you?
Just
Or use
It's
push
the
to talk.
output volume?
Not sure.
It's the input volume.
Josh, you're also a ghost again.
Yeah, that's because I have a white PDF open.
Oh, you should make that not white.
Anyway, so as I was saying, plains count as open terrain, and they give the following modifiers: +1 to hunting rolls, -1 to foraging rolls.
Dang it.
Yeah, not what you're equipped for, but it makes sense since you're not from the plains. You're here, and it's a little harder to find food because this isn't the terrain you're used to.
And none of us are hunters.
And none of you are hunters, so you're just going to be foraging at -1s for food. Okay, so we have a successful either way. All right, couple things happening. You enter a new hex on the map.
Do we move 2 hexes?
Yes, but we do them one by one because every time you enter a new
Okay.
hex, there's an encounter roll.
Uh-oh. Good thing I got my stuff fixed.
Oops. Let me scroll this over. There we go. All right. Here's the map. We have... Oh, are you traveling southeast?
Yes.
Cool.
Southwest.
Southeast. All right. You can see the side of the Vivend label, so you know you're in the right place.
I see here on the ground.
Just giant letters inscribed in the grass.
What is that END on the dirt?
Is this the end? The end of the world?
This dirt tastes like letters.
This dirt tastes like an E.
We must be too close to the left side of the hex. All right. I'm just going to be the goblin this session. It's fine. It's so much fun. I want to bandwagon on. All right. Let me get that encounter roll going. I'm going to do these sequentially. No encounter. And now you get to go a second hex in the rain. However, there is one interesting thing of note that happens here. I'm going to allow a passive scouting roll for everybody except Aimee.
Okay.
Passive meaning you can't push it because you don't know that you're trying.
Oh no.
I succeeded.
Now your
Aimee, you're
microphone is...
super quiet.
10 out of 10. No. It's okay because by the 10th session, our stream is going to be great quality.
By the 10th session, your character's going to be dead and won't need to talk.
By the 10th, yeah, if this party...
No,
you're
not
very
even
quiet.
a little bit.
Maybe turn down the volume on your headphones instead of the sensitivity of your mic. I don't know. IDK, LOL.
Is that better?
Yes, you sound good now.
I can hear you, yes.
All right. Okay, so you set off into the plains. You're marching through the rain. Mrs. Polmore is complaining constantly. And even though you're going in the right direction, she keeps asking if this is the right direction and if you're sure, because she feels like you're probably going north. As you are marching, who succeeded? Just Vergello? Vergello, you notice something odd. You notice light shining out of Velas's backpack, or from under her cloak, one or the other if she doesn't have a backpack. You notice that she's carrying something on her back that is shining, glowing, emitting light. And while marching through the mud and the dark rainstorm, when you're a distance from her, you notice a faint glow coming from her back every so often. When her cloak shifts in just the right direction, you get like a flash of light.
Velas, I don't want to alarm you, but you're glowing.
I don't get that very often.
Talia says congratulations. No. She doesn't do that thing.
I don't mean glowing like that. Something in your pack?
Take it off and open it.
You notice that one of your possessions, an object which shall not be named here, but that looks like some sort of shell, shall we say, is shimmering quite brightly and emitting glittering light in shifting patterns. And are you going to pull it out and open it, or are you going to stash it away and be all shady about it?
I'll pull it out. I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, everybody, let's stop."
Okay. So
I'll,
the only
like,
person that's
the
cued
back.
into this is Vergello, who's walking alongside you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely paying attention.
She
but...
pulls out what looks like a turtle shell bowl, and she's holding it out in front of her, and as the rain is hitting it and getting it wet and filling it with a little bit of water, it's shimmering a lot of different colors. And you're getting faint, swirling images in the bottom of this bowl of a hilltop being struck by lightning. And each time there's a flash of lightning on the hilltop in the image that you see in the bowl just emits bright light that's shining out very brightly. I'm assuming the two of you kind of slow your roll and are walking in the back of the group right now. But yeah, you're getting visions of a geographical feature, and it is a hilltop in some plains, and it is being struck by lightning repeatedly, and you're getting images of that are causing flashes of light to come from the bowl, and the whole thing, now that it's wet, is just shimmering with colors all around its surface constantly. Quite beautiful. Looks magical.
Is there any lightning off in the distance? I mean, we're in plains. I just wasn't sure if I see any lightning strikes that coincide with the thing flaring up.
That coincide? No, they don't seem to. Actually, please hold. I actually need to ask science.
How far can you see the lightning go strike?
How far can you see lightning? Does somebody want to figure that out?
I mean, you can see. I assume it's dark out, right? It's because it's raining. You can see a single
Wow.
pinpoint of light from
Wow.
like super far away.
Okay. I googled the answer. uh, if you're specifically looking for this,
Yeah.
you notice flashes of lightning on the horizon in many different directions. It's a big, broad storm, but every so often, you see a flash of lightning way, way off to the southwest, and it seems to coincide with the images you're seeing in the bowl. And then about 5 seconds later, you hear a thunder.
Look at the bowl.
It seems to be giving you images of something that is maybe 15 or 20 miles way off on the horizon in that direction. You see flashes. You don't even see the lightning bolts, but across the plains you see flashes in that direction that perfectly sync up with the bowl, and then you hear the thunder roll in. And there's also flashes in other directions, but that spot is being hit by lightning more often than other places. This bowl seems to be giving you images of a particular spot.
Velas, I don't know the intricacies of your cereal bowl here, but is this something we want to investigate, or?
To be quite honest with you, I also don't know the intricacies of this cereal bowl. But, I mean, this seems as good a sign as any, and maybe someone in this place will know where Amber's Peak is. I mean, it's as good a lead as any.
You have a feeling, ballparking it, that it's maybe 20 miles or more to the southwest, which would be like several hexes. Several hexes to the southwest, like 4-ish.
Stand by what I said. I don't think it's a terrible idea.
Bring it up with our companions. I'm indifferent. I'm along for the adventure.
Comrades. And by comrades, I mean, well, you know who I'm talking about. I think that we should go that way.
Okay. What makes you think that?
Have we? I knew we were going north. I knew it. You've been marching us the wrong way this whole time.
We're going the right way. Why are you trying to change the course?
I still want to move south. This place seems to be constantly hit by lightning, and I'm no nature freak.
What place? What place are you talking about? Mrs. Polmore is standing there drenched in rain, just spinning in circles sarcastically, looking at the horizon in every direction.
We'll stop and stare right there for about 20 seconds. Just wait for it to hit again.
There's another flash.
It's happening too often in that specific place to not be noteworthy.
So you want to go towards that?
I do. Why would I not? I mean, it
The elf
clearly-
wants to chase lightning. And they say I'm crazy.
It's clearly.
You can both be crazy, Grunrock. I'm just
Clearly
saying.
There is
I mean,
something
yes.
going on there. At the very least, the dirt's gonna taste pretty good.
Nah, too burnt.
We don't know until you try it.
I've eaten lightning strikes.
So what are we gonna do with Miss Polmore and
She can-
Dahlia?
He's gonna
They can come along.
But the whole purpose of us coming out here is to get them to safety. And
We're
Mrs.
moving north
Polmore
south.
says, "We didn't come out here to just go investigating the natural world."
all right, that's enough out of you.
Excuse me.
Shh.
Oh,
If you want to help, you'll be quiet.
oh, big words from a pointy ear from the north with your foul smelling. That seems to be the only thing she has to fall back on. Foul smelling. She said it like 4 times now total.
He probably smells like a fresh rain on a spring day right now.
Lady.
I want to bite you.
Ah! I knew it! I knew it! I shall go on my own. I can't trust these rabble. Come along,
I'm
Dahlia.
not gonna do it, but I want to do it. Now sit down and be quiet. You
Sit
need a
down.
second while we decide what we're doing.
I don't take orders from silly little... While she's saying that, she's sitting down on a rock. Dahlia's just looking concerned.
If you decide to go out on your own, my conscience is clean. We've done what we can to help you. If you refuse our help, then that's fine by me.
Dahlia says, do you think there's shelter in that direction?
There might be. I don't know. I really don't. I know that lightning doesn't often strike the same place more than once. In fact, I've never seen lightning strike the exact same place more than twice, and I'm over 100 years old. That keeps getting hit by lightning.
That
Why
is
do we
very
want-
interesting, but I have to be honest, I'm worried about being out here in the wilderness.
It'll be okay.
I suppose we have no choice but to follow you, but
Why would we want to go towards the area that is consistently getting struck by lightning?
We'll wait for the
Doesn't
rain to
that-
stop before we enter.
We wouldn't go while it's like, I don't know, 20 miles? The lightning will be well done by then. But there has to be something drawing in that electricity.
Is your curiosity not piqued? It seems incredibly adventurous. Let's just go check it out.
Life is short. For you guys.
I
Not
suppose as long as we're moving south, we're probably getting a bit closer to Amber's Peak, so
Might run into someone who can give us more concise direction on where Amber's Peak is.
all right then. You get to go another hex on the same quarter day.
You know, I had this weird cousin that said something about lightning and metal. What if it's a Rust Brother outpost?
really?
I mean,
And if so,
Mrs. Polmore says, "Good! Then we're going towards a place of law and order, and we can gain some information."
I should have known better.
then let's just head to the southwest.
Fine. But if you lead us into danger,
I'm sure we won't hear the end of it from you.
you've got that right.
We wouldn't hear the
Well,
end
thank
of it
you.
if we
How-
carried the whole way.
What direction do you travel from this hex?
Towards the lightning or the way
Towards
we
the
know?
lightning,
South or southwest, both kind of
South.
go towards the lightning.
southwest.
southwest.
Okay,
Alright.
southwest it is.
All right, southwest it is.
Let's go get struck by lightning.
Yeah, boy.
Chaos.
I'm not curious. Chaos crew.
All right.
What? I don't. I can't make two C's.
Yeah, you need.
Hey, look, now we can see the whole word of where we're heading away from.
Hang on a second. This tastes like a V.
No. Okay. We don't have to make any additional rolls because this is still part of the same quarter day. But every time a hex is entered, there's an encounter roll, so I have to do that real quick.
You get attacked by
You
a
don't- you
lightning
don't-
monster.
You don't have to. You're choosing to.
He's legally obligated.
I am legally obligated.
It's in the contract.
Bill knows how
It's
I
in the
DM.
contract.
Bill knows how I DM. I don't like to bend things very much, even if it fucks things up.
I know. I got blown up.
All right.
Magic is fun.
All right. So
Fun?
gotta-
Entertainment? No.
you got to clip every time I have bad DM instincts on something. Let me see.
I just wish we had a clip
That's
of
your
you
job.
drawing ovaries.
No.
Well,
That's long gone. All
no,
right.
we have a picture. We just don't have a clip.
All right.
Chat,
No
if you wanna
encounter.
see the
I rolled no encounter again.
ovaries,
No encounter.
Yeah, it was right on the border of no encounter. It was literally the highest number I could roll without it crossing into encounters. All right. So, we'll kick back to the exploration tab. And
So this is evening now,
yeah,
where we
So
usually
start settling things down.
Yep.
yes.
evening.
And I need to sleep.
Yes, you need to sleep.
And I am going to forage.
Fellas, can you make camp?
Oh.
Well,
forgot.
I mean, and you have the best foraging anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try and make camp.
Okay. So that's a make camp.
Oh,
That's two
My
forages at -1s because we're in the open plains. And Grunrock is napping. All right, so he's snoring loudly. Mrs. Polmore is pissed off. Dahlia nudges you at some point. She's like, "Excuse me, Mr. Goblin, could you face that way? You're snoring very loud." oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No! Shut up!
Foraging for me counts as resting as well.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, that's rank 2 of foraging.
Very nice. I like that one. So you are rest/foraging,
So-
and let's
So
get...
calming trying to find mushrooms in a savannah.
All right, so
There's nothing here.
Um,
There's nothing.
anytime... So, I realized we didn't do this consistently last time, but anytime you make a die roll for any of these skill rolls on this chart, if you fail, you have to roll on the mishap table to see if something bad happens. If two people are foraging, you can do it together, in which case one person rolls it and gets an extra die. Or you can both make separate rolls, but then the person that fails, if one of you fails, has to make a mishap roll. Same thing for the make camp. Everything. Although make camp says 1 max, so that's a solo task regardless. So you can decide if you're TLDR. You can decide if you're foraging together and one person rolls at a +1, or if you're doing it separately and risking more mishaps. And keep in mind that foraging is at a -1 already to the skill dice because you are in plains, and therefore it is harder to forage.
Where is the foraging?
It's survival.
It's survival? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let's go ahead and do make camp first while you guys decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Survival?
Believe so.
Joe, I think I'm gonna give you an extra die.
Okay. For having rank 2 herbalist,
Oh god!
does that change my die pool?
Woo!
I think rank 1 gives you a +1.
Okay, that's alright. I see what rank 2 does.
All right, go ahead and forage while Velas fails to find a good campsite. You're just
This
in the
is
open
Paul
plains
Moore's
getting
gonna
rained
be-
on, and there's
I
no
was saying,
shelter.
we're in the open plains and it's pouring rain.
It's a toughie.
Okay, so I get +1 for.
Yeah, you get +1 -1, so it's just a straight roll for you. +1 for me as well.
So I get a +1 total.
Yeah.
Quick math.
That's unfortunate. Okay. We're rolling some mishaps here. So let's start with the forage one.
Was that a
And
mishap?
yeah,
Anytime you don't succeed, it's a mishap.
Can I push it?
no.
Huh.
We're gonna starve.
Maybe.
I still got D8 food.
Nah, we can just eat the fat one.
Was that a combined one for the two of you, or was that a...
That was combined.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
I didn't think my odds were gonna be much better just rolling 3 dice.
Man.
All right. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be Ayan. 4, 5, 6. It's going to be Vergello. Ayan,
Ugh.
your clothing is torn. Your boots break or your robe snags on thorny plants or sharp rocks. At any rate, your clothing is damaged. You must roll for the effects of cold, and your clothes can be mended with a successful crafting roll.
Ugh.
Yeah.
At least I'm well rested. That was so nice and relaxing.
Bill, you're following Ayan out into the wilderness in the rain, and his clothes just get torn right off.
This is the best time I've ever had foraging.
We'll check on the effects of cold in a minute. In the meantime, making camp goes about as well. Make camp.
I feel like we're 20 yards out from the settlement that we were just in.
Pretty much.
We're dying.
He's like,
Oh, that sucks. All right. You failed to find shelter. And so... Hold on. What's going on with the stream? Hello.
Hello?
The camera stopped updating on the stream.
yep, hello.
Whose camera?
My camera,
Talking to me.
just mine, is like
Lisa.
frozen.
Oh, and it's just worse.
Anyway, I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
You're just throwing your voice really, really well.
Yeah, apparently. Why is this happening? Okay, it's fixed now. I don't know why. My face was frozen on the stream. Okay. Yeah, you fail to find shelter and water seeps into your food supplies and everyone's food die goes down by 1 step.
Oh.
Oh. That's terrible.
Wait. But does that mean our water supply goes up by 1 step?
Sure.
That's a fair question.
Hey, I'll take it.
Oh, my
D12
water was
water.
at max.
Not mine. I'm out of food now.
So I'm a D6 food.
It's pouring so much water on you. How could you be thirsty? All right, so that all happens. The only other thing we need to do is the cold roll.
The only other thing. Being on the plane sucks. It's literally killing
Everywhere
us.
sucks. Every time you step out of a town, it's just a nightmare from the moment. Okay. Effects of
What
cold.
happened? Did something awful happen?
All
Yeah.
of our food dye goes down 1. But your
All
water
of
dye
it?
goes up 1.
All of them.
Everyone's because of the lack of shelter for your campsite. Yep.
The
It's going to be a
food
good
dye-
one.
Food dye goes down 1. Anything else?
No.
Water goes
dye
up by 1.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's water is maxed out if you want.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of rain.
We ate this morning, right?
Yeah.
Bill, you're going to have to
Yeah.
roll for the effects of cold, which is an endurance roll.
Oh
Why-
no, I did.
Why do I have to roll for
Oh,
it?
sorry. Joe does.
What did I do?
And
You deserve it. Yeah, make an endurance roll
Can,
for the effects of
can
cold.
Bill assist me by cuddling?
No.
The spoon assist?
No. There's no
I've been
spoon
holding,
bonus.
I've been holding his clothes up the whole
I
time.
think we already concluded that there's no spoon bonus.
We did, which was contested and still denied.
All right. No ill effects at this time. You will still
Right.
have to fix your clothes in order to
Okay.
avoid future cold rolls.
I will do that at night because I don't need to sleep.
Okay. All right. So we are now into nighttime.
Just imagining you ruining your clothes like permanently.
What should I put?
He's great with
down?
it either.
Around naked.
Well, can I help keep watch and craft my clothes?
No, doing the crafting roll is going to be your activity, so you'll go into other. So if somebody else wants to keep watch, they may.
Where's other?
It's right where the word "other" is.
You might have to scroll to the
I
right
got it.
to see it.
I can't see. There it is. It's difficult playing on a 12-inch monitor.
Meanwhile, me with 3 monitors.
I've got one laptop screen. It's about the
Show
same
off.
size.
All right,
You
let's
have-
see here.
2 monitors and a television.
I have
And a
three-
television?
I have 3 monitors and a television.
It's his third monitor is a TV.
My 4th monitor is a TV.
Bill, I love hanging out at your house and like throwing stuff from the computer onto the television. It's like, oh god, this is
It's so much
the
better.
future.
Hey!
Woo! They're warmer than before.
There is going to be a random encounter in the nighttime.
Oh shit! I have not rolled.
No, you should have
Grunrock
rolled.
is on the watch. All
Grun-
right. You succeed in patching things up. Grunrock is on the watch, right?
Yeah, do
Yeah.
I need
Alright.
to roll anything? Or am I just
I will
chilling?
tell you in a sec. I'm not even sure yet. Let me check if you need to roll anything.
A wild bag of food appears in camp.
Okay.
Someone brings over one of those canopy tents and just puts it over top.
A
Oh,
food
boy.
truck appears.
I
The
hope it's
short
not the
answer-
right hunter guy.
The short answer is yes. A successful scouting roll will help. I will let you roll it before narrating anything that's happening. And then,
Oh,
okay, so you succeed. Noted. That will come into
Good
play.
job,
Um,
Grunrock.
You'll see your death coming.
All right.
Oh,
Oh,
that's exactly what happened.
you don't need to do it now because you already succeeded, but remember that you can pride your nighttime scouting rolls because
yeah.
because you're the eyes of the night.
oh shit! I can pride my
Foraging.
foraging roll.
Yeah. All right.
We gotta remember our pride. Like,
Hold on. Let me get some Sir's music here.
No, what the food truck runs us over?
Yeah.
We got
Oh.
to get isekai'd.
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Everybody, get in it. There's drama happening.
hear the music.
It happens almost imperceptibly. At first, all sounds begin to subtly die down, and the only thing that can be heard is the sound of your own breathing. Then you get a feeling that the hair on the back of your neck rises up as if the air is filled with some strange energy. Finally, you see it creeping towards you. The crimson mist slowly flowing above the ground towards you. The blood mist approaches.
What?
You've camped in a pocket of blood mist.
Run away!
It comes from everywhere, closing in from all sides. If the lookout spots it in time,
Grunrock.
they can alert the party, and everyone can make move rolls to get away, either by climbing a tree, climbing to the top of a nearby rock, or fleeing through a tiny gap to escape it before it closes in around you. If the lookout fails the roll, the adventurers are simply caught in the blood mist.
Simple as that.
Everybody, Grunrock is going to alert you. Grunrock, would you like to do the honors?
Oh, he totally broke up.
The mic didn't like it. It totally cracked, but it's perfect. It was one of those perfectly cut screams. Wake up! You're all startled awake. Mrs. Polmore is like, you little goblin, I was finally asleep. What is wrong?
Fat hag, the blood mist is here.
The what?
Get up and run! Get up and run!
Ah! In a moment, everyone's in a complete panic. Running in different
Jumping up
directions.
And, like, the dagger's in my hand. Oh, shit.
Yeah, he stabbed the mist. Run.
Yeah, it's closing in. You see a wall of it coming towards your campsite, and you're like, oh shit, and then you look the other way, and there's sparser bits of it in the other direction. You're like, oh god, is it everywhere? And you're hunting for gaps. You're in open plains, so you're either looking to get on a rock or a tree very quickly, or you're looking for gaps to sprint through it before it closes in. Everybody gets to make a move roll to not be engulfed by the blood mist.
Is move endurance?
No, it's move. It's literally on the skills list. It's towards the bottom.
There it is. Yep. I'm going for a tree.
The one tree in the plains.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
My
Oh,
agility went down last game because of an injury. How long does that take to heal?
It comes back with a rest, I believe.
So I don't have it back yet, or I do?
She was asleep.
I was sleeping.
This is the rest quarter, right? If this happens during the rest quarter, you don't have it back.
How did your agility go down?
It was an
the
ankle
only
twist,
thing-
right?
It twisted my ankle when I was chasing the guy, and
Mhm.
it
That
hurt
was
it
that was
falling out the
yesterday.
window.
Oh, you heard it falling out the window. That was different. That was today. Okay.
Those were the same day.
You were going to get the point back during this rest, but this happened during the rest, so you don't have it back.
Oh, I'm down 3 agility points.
I hope Dahlia survives.
This is
It doesn't
about
look
to-
good.
Dahlia made
Hey.
it. Dahlia made it on the push with a twisted ankle. Mrs. Polmore double failed, and you watch the blood mist close in around her as she screams. And as her scream is let out, the scream just goes dead silent as the blood mist closes around her, so that you can't even hear the sound escaping from the mist. It has like an aura of silence about it. Ayan has failed. Velas, you make it out. Grunrock, you make it out. Mrs. Polmore, you watch her engulfed by the mist. Dahlia makes it out, but trips over a rock and scuffs up her knees and twists her ankle in the process. So she goes limping out of it. And who hasn't rolled yet? Everybody's rolled except for... Okay. Ayan, you are with Mrs. Polmore. It's closing in around you. You hear her scream cut off as it closes in around her. And you see it closing in around you on all sides. You're having traumatic flashbacks. And you can push it if you like.
I already did.
He did push.
Oh, and you made it on
The
the push?
push was the fail.
No,
Yeah.
he failed.
Oh, I missed your first roll. There it is. Okay. Everybody makes it out, and you're all panting, and you see just the cloud closing in around your campsite where it was. It's like it was drawn to your campsite, and it's engulfing the region around it. And all of you go scrabbling to high ground on a nearby hillock. Just out of the mist, you see its borders, but you turn back and realize that Ayan is missing, and so is Mrs. Polmore. And Dahlia is screaming Mrs. Polmore's name over and over, getting no response. Her voice is just echoing out into the hills. And yeah, the two of you are standing side by side, freaking out probably. First things first, Ayan. You must make an insight roll.
Boy. This is all going well.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Oh,
Everything's great.
The blood mist is clouding into your mind.
Sorry to ask this as well. I don't see insight on the skills.
It's below healing, 2 below endurance.
You oh, never mind. That was the previous roll.
What does I mean?
That's
a
a
one.
1.
Woo! Doing good here, guys. I got this.
Okay.
Can you push it?
You are
yeah.
feeling
I get
intense.
willpower, right?
Oh, first of all, yes, you can push it if you like. And if you push it, you will get a point of willpower, but you will take a point of damage to, what is this, empathy?
Width.
For
Wits.
the move roll that I failed, do I get, because I pushed it and failed, do I get a willpower and -1 to agility?
No.
Yeah. 'cause
Yes.
He got it on the second.
Yes.
All right. So I'm down
So
to
you
2.
can choose to push this one if you want. It'll be a wits damage if you, at least a wits damage if you push it.
That's a success.
Okay. I think you were supposed to remove that one die, but that's fine. It stayed a skull, so it doesn't matter.
Why do I remove that one die?
Because it
You're
was a
supposed to
skull.
remove any skulls or successes.
Yeah, because
Or
those
one
because they remain skulls. But you got it. The same exact die was a skull the second time, so we'll just leave it as is. Okay, Ayan. You are overcome with an intense feeling of homesickness, and you momentarily forget where you are and what you're doing, and wonder why you ever left the forest, but you can't even remember what the forest was called. And then you shake it off and snap back into it. You've lost a point of damage. You've taken a point of damage to your wits because you're disoriented. And you now get to make an additional move roll to try to run out of the mist. You also see Mrs. Polmore near you, who's making the same roll. And she succeeds. And so she's going to make another sprint as well.
Damn. This is Baltimore.
You see Mrs. Polmore disappear in a different direction from you and lose track of her. Everybody else, you see Mrs. Polmore come crawling out of the edge of the mist. And she's shouting, but her shouts start abruptly when she crosses the edge of the mist out of it.
Push this butch back.
And Dahlia runs to the base of the hill and helps drag her to her feet and is helping her up the hill. Leaving Vergello standing on the outside of the mist, looking desperately around for Aeon.
Frantically, yeah.
Vergello, a round passes, and I actually read that roll wrong. He did do it.
Yeah, he succeeded.
A round passes. You think he's still in there somewhere, and then just a few seconds after Mrs. Polmore makes it to the top of the hill, you see Aeon come limping out of the blood mist. His pupils are very dilated. He's breathing heavily, and he comes limping up the hill. Everyone has escaped it.
Huzzah!
I thought we were done with the blood mist.
You get to the top of the hill so that you can survey the surroundings, and you see that a pocket of it just coalesced around your campsite and completely engulfed it. It's still lightly drizzling, and Dahlia is in tears. Mrs. Polmore is just looking in disbelief at the blood mist and shaking her head back and forth. They thought it was over too. It hangs around your campsite.
Like pat Dahlia on the back as far as I can reach because I'm really short.
Adding her ass.
I'm going
hoping
to
to go a little higher than that.
goblin height. Excuse me. No. All right. I'm gonna go refill my drink. IRL. You all can discuss at the top of the hill for a moment what just happened.
Okay. All right, so blood mist pockets. That's a new danger. Are we still going towards the lightning strikes?
I think we
I
should.
want to get to civilization as fast as possible. See if these people know anything else about blood mist, and perhaps someone knows about the lightning strikes too.
People will know about the lightning strikes at the lightning strikes. For sure, for sure. And there might be civilization there.
Why do you want to go to the lightning strikes other than just your curiosity? Do you care about the safety of anyone else?
No one is at any more risk moving in that direction than they are leaving the safety of a town to escort an old woman.
If we knew the direction of this Amber's Peak and where we're heading, I would make the argument that we should keep going in that direction. But we have literally just a direction and nothing more.
Say we reach a crossroads, and one way is Amber's Peak, and the other way is the lightning strikes. Where then do we go?
We go to Amber's Peak, drop off these two here, and then we can go back to the lightning strikes.
They're
But we don't have a direction. We don't.
Wait.
Are we all in agreement that Amber's Peak is the priority, but we'll still head in the direction of the lightning strikes?
Yeah.
I'm for that.
All of us?
'Cause I feel like taking these two into the lightning strikes is potentially hazardous for all of us. But I do kind of
back,
want to know what's going on there.
All right.
So
Where were we?
Yeah.
Fine. I'll be happy to offload her.
The rest of the night is going to pass uneventfully while you all sit on top of the hill and try to rest in this exposed terrain. And by morning, the blood mist has dispersed, leaving your campsite free to access again so that you can go back and get your belongings and revisit your campfire.
Is anything...
The rain is over. The rain is broken.
Can I use my pride and look around and see if any of the plants look different, any of nature looks affected by the blood mist?
Let me see what skill that would be. Probably survival. Since it's knowledge of the natural world. I'll let you do lore or survival.
And can I put my pride
You can.
in that?
Yeah.
Is that +1?
Point of order.
It adds a
this
D12.
whole thing,
We've also rested, so you get your points of wits back and everything.
You do. Joe.
No, I didn't rest.
You said you rested when you were foraging.
Yeah.
So you got hurt after that.
Yeah, I got hurt after that.
Oh yeah.
If you use, I read this in the book. If you use your pride and you fail the roll, you lose your pride.
For the rest of the day or the
forever?
Permanently.
Forever.
And then you play one full session with no pride, and then the session after that you get to pick a new pride.
Well,
So do what you want. That's like a very important rule.
that is. Thank you. You got to use it at some point.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I wasn't trying to discourage you. I just wanted you to know. Woo! Live to die another day.
What is your pride? What is your pride called again? Just remind me of the phrasing.
Right back.
I'm a brilliant botanist.
Okay, cool. Right. You get a success. You are studying the area that the blood mist swept over last night. The plants are entirely and completely unaffected, as far as you can tell. But the people who were in it were certainly affected very quickly. It seems like it's affecting people, but not plants. There's not a trace of it left on the ground or the plants, and they seem entirely unchanged by it.
We're going to have to forage.
Morning.
Yeah. Oh man, I was hoping for more than that. You're a disappointment, Josh.
And how many points of damage did you take in wits?
Uno, and one in agility.
Mrs. Palmore took one somewhere. No, Dahlia took one somewhere.
But if I foraged this morning, it counts as a rest, so I should recover both of those, right?
That depends if you get to rest, like if you get your point back and then you can roll. So you're 1 point down from wits, which means you're 1 point down from succeeding at foraging. Josh, since foraging counts as a rest for him, does he get the point back before he rolls for foraging or after?
It'll be after. Because if an encounter happens during a rest, you're not going to get the things back, and the mishaps are part of that.
I can recover my agility at the same time as recovering my wits as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You recover all of it while resting. All of your lost stat points, as long as you're not broken. Like, as long as you're not zeroed out on a stat, you're recovering all of it from a rest.
This is forage. Okay. I can't see, when we put our player tokens, can we try and avoid the...
Covering the text?
Yeah, because I can't see.
Yeah.
What someone would say.
Did Mrs. Palmer also take a point of damage to wits?
I think it was agility.
No. Dahlia took a point of agility.
Sorry.
I think Palmore was unaffected because she pushed and succeeded without getting ones. Oh, wait, no. Oh, yes. Yeah, no. Palmore didn't lose any stats. Dahlia lost an agility running out.
Okay.
That's my recollection of it anyway.
I'm gonna use I'm gonna spend a willpower point
Mm-hmm.
and use my second level of Path of the Hymn. A number of your comrades equal to the number of willpower you spend within short range. Each recover 1 point of damage to an attribute. I decide which attribute they all recover. So I guess it's
Agility to all the injured people.
no, it's wits.
Wits.
I want to have a higher chance of getting food.
Okay. So you're going to give a point of wits back to Ian.
And one other person if anyone's missing wits, because
Nobody else
when I spend 1 willpower, I get 2.
Okay.
Aimee's going to be as well. Yeah. I think.
Did Aimee lose wits? Because
she failed her survival roll for setting up camp.
But I don't think she
didn't lose anything.
You can't push those rolls.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Okay.
So you can use it, and Ian recovers, and then we
Yeah.
go into foraging in the morning. The rain is over. It's cloudy and dreary, and we'll get some more peaceful music back on. That was fine, right?
I mean, I'm starving.
I'm really bummed that my microphone blew out.
You should have backed away and screamed.
Yeah.
There was enough of scream.
Yeah, it still sounded good. It honestly sounded like better.
It broke right at the top, and it was kind of funny because of it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and keep things moving and get some foraging rolls going. So are you foraging together for the +1?
I assume so, because he just.
Oh, we need 4 people to forage. Because we all can't go nowhere. We may as well all 4 of us forage.
Polmore and Dahlia will forage together. They're bad at it, but combined they get 4 dice.
Should I keep watch, or do you want my help on the forage? Or do you just want
watch, I think.
Keep watch.
There's
For the record,
equal amount of chance that some bad shit's gonna happen.
Your characters don't know this, but every quarter day, there's a 1 in 4 chance that I have to roll on the encounter table, but on the encounter table, there's a 50-50 chance that nothing happens. So basically every quarter day, there's about a 1 in 8 chance that something happens. And every time you enter a new hex, there's a 50-50 chance of an encounter happening. So it's when you're traveling, it's more likely to happen. When you're stationary, it's less likely to happen. But as time passes, eventually there will be an encounter. Like I hit none for morning, none for daytime, none for evening, but then hit 1 for nighttime. So you never know when an encounter is going to happen. It could happen any quarter day, but if you're stationary foraging, it's less likely.
So the other thing to consider is that if only one of you 2 are foraging, then it's going to be at a -1 because you can't combine and help, which means there's a higher chance of us rolling an additional mishap while foraging.
Fair enough.
So if someone's going to keep watch, then you may as well just the other one do something else.
Okay.
Like we need food for sure, but
are we intending to move today, or should we be trying to find another camp?
We're going to end up moving at some point today.
Okay.
I think forage first, move second, set up camp third, sleep fourth.
But can every single person... There's not like a limit to how many people can forage?
No, I don't
can all forage.
There's not, but anyone who fail... It's at a -1 because you're in planes, and anybody who fails has to roll on the forage mishap table.
So like if you 2 went and foraged, you could aid the other person and give the other person a +1, negating that -1. So whichever of you has the higher survival, which I don't know what people's survival is.
Mine's 6.
On a scale of like...
Out of character, what's your survival, Aimee?
My survival is not great. It is 3.
Okay. So I'm a 4. So
it would be better for one of us to help you and one of us to help Joe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dahlia and Polmore find food.
I will
So now if you all fail, you're going to look terrible.
I'm going with Vergello.
Okay.
I'll go with Ian.
Wow, Aimee.
Joe, I love you, man. My character's really pissed at you.
Ian succeeds.
Why are you pissed at me? Just...
Vergello. Okay, so... Wow, nice.
Oh, wait. Ian's already declared that he was going to roll his... what's it called? Pride for...
Yeah.
We're trying to get as much food as possible here, Josh.
Roll a d12 for your pride.
All right, just the d12, right?
Yeah. That
more.
is 2 successes. All right. So, total, this is units of vegetables, which can be a lot of different things. That can be berries, that can be mushrooms, that can be like wild radishes. It's not grass. It might be grass for Grunwald. But everybody splits up into groups. Mrs. Palmore and Dahlia come back with 1 unit of berries that they found. And they're like, these seem okay, right? Right? And you all look at them and you're like, those are blackberries. Those are fine.
You'll find out in about 6 hours.
Says Mrs. Palmore. Dahlia shrugs and she's like, we've got to eat. And
wait, no, don't eat it.
Oh,
they have die rolls, right? They have like prepared food that's not spoiled.
Yeah,
They'd probably start with that.
They're both at D6s. Oh yeah, we needed to do our food and water rolls in the morning as well.
Yeah,
we'll do that at
I
the
don't
end
have
of
any
this.
food.
Okay, we'll do that at the end of this. So, anyway, in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of vegetables now for the party. If you consume a unit of vegetables, you get to skip doing the food roll for the day.
If we don't, I can try and cook all of it in another quarter day.
Right.
I can share food with Vergello.
Okay.
I have a D6 of food, so I can roll twice.
Okay.
Oh wait.
Roll once for
D6?
you and see if you have enough to share with him.
I rolled
Womp.
once for me and got a 4, but that was my second roll.
Which was a skull.
The second roll was a
So
skull.
I ate the last of it?
You eat the last of it. Okay, so Velas shares with you and runs out. Ayan... everybody can handle their own food. Just announce if you've run out.
Okay, yeah.
If it's a skull, it goes down a level, but otherwise it's untouched, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My water went down 1.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Yeah, we're at max water.
Mrs. Polmore has run out of food. Dahlia has not.
God.
I can cook us some more food this evening.
So, all right. We're good.
What'd you do? Eat your feelings after the blood mist?
I've had about enough of you, little goblin. I've half a mind to hit you over the head with a rock and march off towards Amber's Peak.
North is that way.
You,
I must
old
summon
woman.
the dagger when she says that and just look at her. I would.
I'll grin my shiny goblin spiky teeth and get real big wide-eyed.
I dare you, old woman.
Dahlia steps up in between you and she's like, she doesn't mean it. She's just a little cross right now. We all just need to get a bit. It's been a hard night for everybody, and I think it's best if we all just. Mrs. Polmore's eyes say, "I mean it," but she doesn't say that out loud. And Dahlia's looking back and forth desperately.
All right. You win this time.
Let's get on the road. Travel for the next day.
All right. Morning is done, and we still have all 6 units of vegetables, I believe. So
Yes,
you can
we're
cook
saving them
those.
for the
You
evening.
can cook those later to give people a bunch
Yeah.
of food dice.
Daytime.
It was a good forage. Everybody
good
foraged
forage.
and nobody failed or had a mishap, and we got a bunch of food out of it.
The kind of forage we needed.
Yes. The forage Gotham deserves.
So far, doing a little better than the last time we went through the woods.
Yeah,
I mean, haven't got murdered by skeletons.
We almost died in the blood mist. Like,
I said a little.
Alrighty.
Mrs. Polmore's going, how much farther is it to your little lightning spot? I'm tired. My feet hurt, and these shoes are not fit for the road. Look at these.
5 minutes.
Maybe if you kept us on a proper trail, my shoes would be holding up better.
What trail? It's just dirt.
Exactly. You don't know where you're going. None of you do. We're just
Neither do you.
wandering.
You said southeast and then said we were going north. Do you have any idea where you are right now?
Well, I'm sure that I could. I see the
Get lost and starve to death.
Oh, there's mountains that
Be
way.
grateful for Aen's kindness. Because it's the only thing that's keeping you alive.
And my patience is running out with you.
Which one is Aen?
Wait, how did you put it? Smelly tattooed one.
Oh, the one that got lost in the fog last night.
No, that's you. You got lost in the fog last night. Let's travel. I don't want to argue with some old lady.
All right. We're
Pick her
traveling.
while we walk.
Pick her while you walk. Flawless.
Clip it.
Flawless. Yeah, that's a clip for sure. All right. I don't know how well synchronized it was over the over the network, but for me it was perfect. All right. Here we are on the map. You're welcome, stream. None of you can see this. There we go. Scroll over. I wish it started off center to where it was last time. All right, so the party. Yeah, you no longer know exactly which direction the lightning was coming from, but yeah.
So south.
Which you pick. The group has to pick. Are you going south or southwest?
It was southwest from where we started, right?
Yeah. We can keep heading southwest, or we can move south. Maybe it rains again. We get a better idea.
I'm leaving it up to. It's not Vigello, Velas.
Velas has the bowl, and right now, the bowl just looks like an inanimate, ordinary object.
He seems
wanna
so
go?
passionate.
What direction would you like to travel, Velas? What velocity would you like to go?
Is there any chance that last night after we made it to the top of the hill, was it still striking?
You stopped seeing strikes when the rain stopped. You can still hear distant thunder.
For the blood mist. Would I have any idea which direction it was?
Going from memory, you think it was south by southwest from here. Definitely more south than west, but that's as much as you can remember.
That's just what I'll say then.
South it is then. We'll move south. And...
Due south a bit.
South it is. I certainly don't want Velas thinking that I'm just pushing her around.
All right. We're going to make our way south. Let's get all of the appropriate rolls here.
I just realized that I have Pathfinder, and I've not been adding +1 to my spider rolls.
All right, let's get a lead the way roll. I won't call for any keep watch rolls unless anything happens. And for Gello and Velas, are you training while traveling again?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's flawless. Flawless victory.
I don't think I've made a successful lead the way in my past 3 attempts.
Velas got very good this second time around.
I stabbed once or twice, but I still managed to succeed too.
I got very frustrated and just kept imagining stabbing this old woman. Got very, very good at it.
Plus, hey, what?
All right, let's see here.
You got the lead the way on the first one because we covered 2 hexes, no worries.
Oh, that's right. Well, then you guys should be thanking me.
Thank
Yeah.
you for not killing us the first
So
time.
far, we've pulled double the progress that we did in the first time we tried this shit.
Okay. I was actually doing this slightly wrong last time. Every time you enter a new hexagon on the map, you make a lead the way roll. And if you fail, you still enter that hex, but you suffer a mishap. Is how it
I
works.
double failed. So
you don't get to push it. So what do you mean double failed? Oh, the skulls. The skulls don't matter. The skulls are just failed. The skulls only matter if you push, and you're not allowed to push traveling rolls. So Velas got 3 swords. That was sick. Nasty roll. And Vergella. Okay, so the 2 of you both upgrade your talents while traveling. We make our way into a new hex of plains, and I will roll the mishap to see what happens.
Wait, we go into the new hex even if we don't succeed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
But-
I remember
but
when we
there's
were
gonna
stuck
be
in
a
the
traveling-
forest, Josh said that wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh, right.
No. You rolled that you were lost on the mishaps.
All
what
I
happened.
heard was that you messed up, and
No,
I decided to
I
put
messed-
the blame where
I messed
wanted
up
to.
once in your favor yesterday. So you might not want to complain too much.
Never. I will complain as much as I want to.
All right, here we go.
I am the bard, after all.
I am above the
Short
bard.
of being some naggy old woman, I'm the biggest complainer here.
You have come upon a river. So that's kind of
That's the
cool.
mishap.
No. That's not the mishap. In fact, the mishap might happen before you reach the river, but I'm telling you that you're moving into a new hex in which there is a river here.
Oh, that's
General
Smell water.
Elia.
General thing. So as a general rule, I'm not gonna unveil hexes adjacent to your hex because I don't want to show what's in a hex until you go to that hex. But I will tell you that you now see mountains to the south 4 hexes away. You see the peaks of a distant mountain range to the south 4 hexes away. And Hank, you recognize those mountains because somewhere to the southeast of those mountains is the Shroud where you came from. You grew up
What are
seeing those
those?
mountain peaks.
What are those mountains, Hank?
We're getting close to home, I can say that much. But you don't want to go there. There's a lot of bodies and not a lot of people.
I can tell you the name of those mountains, but I don't have them handy. Apologies.
What I'm hearing is it's not like the mountain range with Amber's Peak. Assuming Amber's Peak is a mountain.
That is a false assumption based on what your character knows.
Yeah, it's called role playing, Josh.
I said based on what your character knows. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and roll on the mishaps here. Hank may not even know what those mountains are called. He just recognizes them.
It might not seem like
he's
it.
like, oh, we're
but
getting
I'm
towards my
role-playing
home
someone
down
who's
here.
Grundrup
ignorant.
knows everything about geography.
It's true. Oops. All right.
Now I know the table.
That one's called the big gray one.
Is mishap table. But can
Flawless.
good things happen off of it?
Uh,
You mishap into some good shit.
there's not good mishaps. No. There are good random
our-
encounters, but there's not good mishaps.
Can our golden-eyed hunter friend be a mishap?
We'll see.
That wasn't an answer.
We'll see. Leading the way, mishaps. Here we go.
I just want to meet him again. I should
I
call
just
him.
want to see him one more time.
You should call him.
Should I call him?
Oh, good.
Skeletons.
Oh shit! Again?
All right, so you're marching
Palmer,
across the
Scully
open
Bait.
plains. There's some soft, squishy ground, and as you're walking along, Dahlia goes into quicksand.
That was
How,
quick.
how far?
Down to about chest height, and she starts screaming and flailing around and is sinking. And she's gonna make a might roll. And she gets out on her own.
I'm like pulling for the the rope, and I just look up, and she's already out. I'm like,
She steps back, and you realize that there's a broad swath of it there, and that she was just the unlucky one that stumbled into it, and everything's totally fine.
Is it normal for the dirt to eat you too?
What a terrible thing! What? I thought I was going to drown. What strange soil. Mrs. Pullmore says, maybe if you were more attentive. This is just like the dusting, all over again. I told you so many times.
Josh, I'm not seeing a push roll. How do I push the old lady into the quicksand?
Dahlia doesn't turn back and look at Mrs. Polmore. She's getting kind of fed up, and she's just marching off in the direction you were going. And you carry on. That was your
Dahlia's
mishap.
gonna kill her in her sleep.
That was your mishap. So here's the situation.
Here's the situation.
You have come upon a river that covers the hex borders both to the southeast and the south. So you cannot travel in either of those two directions without crossing the river, which is a broad and cold and rapid river. You could seek a place to ford. You could try to swim everybody across, or you could travel along the river and look for easier crossings.
What happens if one of us dies of dysentery?
The wagons explode.
We have
Obviously.
wagons.
Yes.
We should find an easy.
Well, this
way
is
to
just
play across.
great, says Mrs. Polmore. Who put this river here anyway?
Yep.
Why don't you complain to the manager?
At least we have a boat to float across.
And I'll poke her in the stomach.
Excuse me?
You're excused. Now,
Should we just move
You
to
can
the southwest?
individuals can make swim rolls to get across it, or the group could cross if you have a boat or raft of some kind, or you travel until you find a ford or bridge.
We do that.
That is going to raise the next question:
Should we go that way?
northeast or southwest? Because those are the two directions the river seemed to be going.
West.
You think southwest?
Yes.
Southwest it is, in my opinion.
Well, this
I'm
is
fine
just
with southwest.
bloody wonderful.
at least
I
we're
forgot.
not gonna run out of water.
Oh yeah, fill up your water, I guess.
Oh yeah.
For those of you who lost some, I think we're all maxed, aren't we?
I lost some, but
Oh, never mind.
Well,
I actually forgot to roll an encounter roll for this X as well. So as you're standing around at the river
I thought
discussing,
that was the encounter. Oh no, that was
no, that was the mishap. There is an encounter.
Oh my goodness.
So let's
it
see what's
could be
happening.
good, guys.
Was
It
anyone
could.
keeping watch while we were walking?
No.
I'm surprised that.
I thought I was.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
wasn't I?
know.
I can pop over and check. Hold on. Yeah, the goblin's on the
know-
keep watch spot.
I was like, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
You can do it next time.
Getting real good at stabbing people.
So if
No,
there's
I got
anything that
nothing.
calls for a watch roll, it's going to be him. All right. Let's see. Planes. Let's
A
see
stranger
here.
walks up to you and asks you what time it is.
Please be something cool.
That's like a watch roll.
Where's
Ooh,
the bridge to get across the river?
I think it might be something spicy. Hang on.
It's stupid.
It took me a minute. It took me a minute. But I liked it.
If
Ah,
anyone
here we
needs to
go.
make a watch roll, that's the perfect time to make a watch roll.
Anybody got the time?
Okay. I need a moment for this one.
That laugh doesn't. Doesn't.
When his head turns ghostly white, you know things are about to get bad.
He's intently reading
His
a monster's
forehead.
stat line.
Just a forehead.
It's glistening.
Oh, I clipped the bickering
Oh,
while
no.
we walk. And
That's
y'all
a
are-
very happy face. I saw
Right.
that face and then died one time.
Just more out front.
As you are traveling, hold on, I gotta change up the music. We need a nice little change of tune here.
We need
Wait,
something
okay.
way more intense, is what you're trying to say.
All right.
Is the dragon playlist?
As you are
Is it
traveling
dragons in
around,
this world?
Yeah.
I've never
Uh,
tried dragon.
marching. So there's a muddy trail along the river that's been worn down by people walking along the river, probably in situations similar to yours. You are traveling to the southwest along the river, looking for a ford or a bridge or something, and coming in the opposite direction, you see a company of individuals approaching. There are carts, and there's two carts, and they're pulled by mules, and maybe half a dozen people walking alongside them. And they look to be a company of jesters. Many of them are gaudily painted and dressed in comical garb with like long dangly hats.
I want that hat.
Although you can't help but think as you see them approaching from a distance that such a place in the wilderness is not the ideal place for a performance. The men and women escorting the troop, of whom there are 3, are all humans on horseback, riding alongside the 4 jesters that are walking. None of the people on the horses are wearing makeup or paint of any kind, unlike the jesters. And as this troop is about 200 feet away from you, approaching along the river in the opposite direction from you, 2 of the riders on horseback tell the troop to halt. They all halt, and they come riding up to you. And it is a middle-aged woman and a middle-aged man. They are not dressed like they are particularly wealthy, and they look tense and concerned. And they ride up to you and stop. No, not visibly. They're not wearing armor. They are on fine-looking horses. One of them is on a white horse, and the other is on a tannish brown horse. And their horses are beautiful, but they look poor. They're dressed like poor people, which might seem like a little bit of a mismatch. And they're riding up to you looking tense, and the woman stops a little short of the man who rides in front of her and says, "Hail, travelers!"
Oh, good day. Good evening. Hail.
Good day. Where are you bound?
Hopefully a bridge or something to get across this river. Amber's Peak, I believe, is the final destination for us.
His eyes keep darting back over his shoulder as though he looks nervous or paranoid. He's a little bit out of breath, and he says, "We're in similar straits. We make for Amber's Peak."
Best of luck to you.
Okay. Hopefully you find a bridge in the other direction then.
He says, "Indeed. You'll find an inn not far along that way. They seem welcoming enough."
Can I inside check this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any
doing
insight with inciting.
The sketchy really well, and I want to know if my character picks up on it. She does.
He's terrified of something, and he seems to be in a rush to keep moving.
Then why is he... I'm just gonna look at him. The inn is safe. What is it?
What's what? I'm afraid we'll need to be passing through. We have a few sick among us. You may want to give us a wide berth. I don't want you to catch anything.
The jesters are the ones who are sick?
Some of them, yes. A terrible rash. They're. We don't want it to spread any farther. We'll just keep on moving, and you just give us a wide berth, and everything will be fine.
Will one of them trade me their hat?
I'm afraid that's their professional equipment, and I'm sorry. We're trying to get somewhere before nightfall, so we're going to keep on moving along.
Where'd you say you were trying to go to again?
We're bound for Amber's Peak. We're searching for a ford or a bridge or something. We're not quite sure how far it'll be. I apologize. My name is Ruiz of the Galdane tribe.
What was the name of the inn? The inn?
The inn? Oh, there's a little rest stop. I believe the inn was called the Belly of the Wolf something.
The Belly of the Wolf was a welcoming place.
But yes, we weren't able to stay long though. We had to keep moving along. Forgive me, but we don't have a lot of time to talk. Hank? Scout.
Huh?
Hank's the lookout. He gets a scouting roll on this.
One success, one fail.
There's a company of armored individuals coming up over a distant hill, and they seem to stop at the crest of the hill and point straight at the wagons.
You're on the lam. I get it. What'd you do to them?
And I'll turn around and I'll like point at the armored people.
I'll,
He
like,
turns
slap
and
at
looks
his
back.
hand. Completely understandable. On your way.
Yeah, let's kind of move around them for sure.
Yeah, wide berth.
Super wide berth.
Super wide
Good
berth.
up, wide berth.
Have a good day.
Uh,
Snitches get stitches.
all right.
Okay,
You're gonna let them keep going, and as they are continuing, they hastily continue up the mud trail, and as they keep going along, a couple of things. Everybody make a scouting roll just to passively notice things. This will be one that you can't push because you don't know you're looking for something, but successes might help you notice passive details here.
You want me to make another one?
Hayden's crushing it.
I saw it
Yeah.
all. I saw
Make another one,
everything.
Hank.
Saw everything.
I
Make another
saw
one,
it
Hank.
all.
You want me to make a second one?
Yeah. Very nice. You're actually going to notice different things. Ian's going to notice something about the caravan. Grunrock is going to notice something about the people in the distance. Grunrock, as the sunlight over the hills catches the cloaks of the riders that are headed in your general direction, you get a glint of metallic armor and some crimson and ochre, and you realize that they are dressed as Rust Brothers, and that these are probably the infamous Iron Guard, the military wing of the Rust Brothers in their full combat get-up. And there's 3 of them on horseback headed in your direction, all of them wearing metal armor and on
Like
horseback.
heading directly at us.
They're
instead of
following
at-
the
at
caravan,
Oh, they're following
Like
the
we're-
caravan.
which is passing by you currently.
Okay.
You notice that. Ian, you notice something stranger about the caravan as it's going by. As the caravan is rolling by through the mud, you notice the jesters are all walking kind of like they're lurching along a little awkwardly, and one of their feet comes off, just stuck in the mud. One of them takes a step and stumbles over, and you see a foot with just a jagged bone sticking up, stuck in the mud, and it stands itself up, reaches back, grabs the foot, sticks it back on, and then keeps shambling. And you realize that all of these 4 jesters that are walking around are dead, rotting corpses, dressed as jesters, walking alongside the wagons, slowly.
Well, I blurted out to the party.
The party has... I'm going to give you, 90 seconds real time to discuss what you want to do, because the riders are fast approaching. They seem like they will probably catch up with the caravan. The caravan is marching along up the stream, trying to be low-key, and all of you are standing by the wayside, deciding what level of involvement you want to have with the situation.
So,
As little as possible.
metal, red, and orange is not good, right? Because that's what
Correct.
those guys are wearing.
Correct.
That's Rust Brothers.
I think it's best if we stay out of this.
Yes.
Absolutely. I am ducking behind Ayan and Bergello head down while we walk.
So you're in the open, but anybody
Alright,
that wants to go unnoticed can make a stealth roll to basically dive behind stuff and run up the side of the hill and try to conceal yourselves.
Is it full sun?
It won't be easy to conceal all 6 of you out in the open, but individuals who succeed on stealth rolls may be able to get far enough away to stay unseen completely.
We've done nothing wrong. We shouldn't act suspiciously. Polymore, this is your opportunity. If you want to go with the Rust Brothers, here it is.
She says, Rust Brothers, is that what they are? Oh, well, how delightful. And she steps out in the middle of the trail and starts waving at them.
I'm gonna grab Dahlia's hand.
I don't recommend you follow her.
I
I know you want to be loyal, but those 3 are not gonna like us.
Do you have a quarrel with the Rust Brothers?
Already.
Not
Yeah. Velas is gone. By the time you turn around to try to talk to Velas about what to do, she's already missing. The party doesn't know where she is.
The Rust
You're all like,
brothers. I'll
Really,
just
but
chime in and say the Rust brothers are not really big fans of anyone that's not human. And as you can tell by the majority of this party,
short.
there's not a lot of humans. So we don't recommend following her for the other reasons of just how terrible she's treated you and the rest of this whole time. Please join us.
Mrs. Palmore's going, Dahlia, you come here right now. Make a manipulate roll to try to be more convincing than her loyalty to Mrs. Palmore.
Do I get a +1 because the goblin started all this?
No.
Oh, well, I tried.
But I'm holding her hand.
She's like, I think maybe we should... And she goes, oh, fine then, go crawl around in the bushes, I don't care. I'm going to speak to the authorities. And she's standing in the middle of the path with her arms raised. Dahlia's going to run and hide with the rest of you. Everybody's going to scatter to different places.
Did we all stealth?
Anybody who wants to be hidden has to stealth. And you're rolling individually. I'm pushing Dahlia's roll. Dahlia falls into a hole. She ends up hidden, but she's hurt. And she goes, ah! You won't be able to check on her until the scene is over. But she's crawling around behind some rocks and something. She just crawls into a hole where she gets stuck or falls or something. She got quite hurt on the push, but she got hidden.
She's quite hidden, but quite hurt.
All right. The party all runs off and hides. We've got Vergello hidden, Grunwald hidden, Dahlia hidden.
I don't think Ayan stealth.
Velas hidden.
Oh.
Ooh, Ayan got a bad roll. Do you want to give it up and be visible, or do you want to take a bunch of damage hiding yourself?
I'll give it up and be visible.
All right. Ayan, you try to hide, and then you realize you don't have good cover, and that all the good hiding spots are taken, and then you turn around, you're like, and you sheepishly walk up next to Mrs. Palmore. The Rust brothers are going to ride up. 3 Iron Guard. These are fully armored military Rust brothers with broadswords. And as they come into view, you can see that they all have twisted and mutated faces. One of them, his face is like slid part off, and he's got scars all over him. There's another one with what looks like the start of a third eye kind of on his cheek. And there's another one who's just lurched over strangely, and he's wearing a big bulky cloak, and it's hard to figure out what's going on under his cloak, but you see movement. Like there's maybe other limbs or something under there. And they're all armored in loose-fitting chainmail and carrying broadswords. And they ride up and they're shouting, "Halt! Halt!" at the caravan. And the caravan is slowing down because they realize they have no choice but to try to stop here.
Do they ride past Mrs. Palmer and Ayan?
They're gonna encounter them first on their way to the caravan, so they're shouting halt at the caravan, but they're gonna slow down to a stop at Mrs. Palmore and Ayan. And the one steps out in front and introduces himself. He says, "I am Captain Holmar of the Iron Guard. You owe me your allegiance. Identify yourselves, citizens."
Captain, I'm Ayan. This is Mrs. Palmore. We just left.
We are so happy to see you. You don't even know. We've been marching for days from the Hollows, and it is so cold, and it is so wet. And he goes, "Silence, woman!" She looks taken aback. He says, "As you were saying, sir."
Well, she was right. We just came from the Hollows, and we have no problem with you. We're just trying to get to Amber's Peak.
Asleens? Wait a minute. You're no Asleen. You're an elf, aren't you?
Elf. Better part of me is human.
What business do you have in Amber's Peak?
Just delivering this fine lady.
I see. Hired bodyguard?
Guilty conscience.
He's not going to inquire further because he doesn't care. So he says, lay your weapons on the ground and we'll do you no harm. Long as you don't try to start anything.
I've got a staff which looks like a walking stick, so...
Are you going to lay it down?
I look at him, and I hold it, and I go...
Drop it.
Okay, there it goes.
Have a seat over there. We're having a word with this caravan.
Do you need us for anything, or can we be on our way?
They look at each other like they're considering.
I look as frail as I can.
Old man Ian.
We've business with this caravan and we'd like no interference. Have a seat on that rock over there. And you can go on your merry way and reclaim your weapons as soon as we're done talking.
I like rocks. I'll go over there.
All right. He's going to make you walk a fair distance from your weapon. Then they ride on further to the caravan, and you're going to witness this. Everybody else is just getting bits and pieces of this from a distance. They ride up, and the people on horseback are trembling a bit as they approach. And he says, what have we here? A traveling gang of court jesters out in the wilderness. How quaint. And they're all looking at each other nervously, and they're like, we're just traveling. We're trying to get to... And he's like, I got to say, I'm weary from the road. Perhaps we could have a little performance, eh? Do a little dance for us, court jesters, he says, and he draws his sword and just hangs it at his side. Come on, dance. Let's have a dance. And he says, perhaps you need some music. And he starts clapping. And he's like, come on, boys. And all three of the Rust brothers start clapping to a beat. And the nervous looking riders are like, I think they're a little tired right now. We've been traveling for so long. Asking them to just up and dance. He's like, what kind of jesters are you? You should always be prepared for a performance. Now dance. And one of the jesters turns his head a bit, and his head just sort of pops off and rolls onto the ground with a sound of jingling bells from the hat. And there's just an awkward and extended silence. And all three of the Rust brothers burst out laughing in unison while all the others are looking at each other uncomfortably. And then the dead jester leans down, picks up its head, puts it back on, and goes back to standing there. And he's like, I think these jesters are a bit tired. Perhaps they should come with us to a place where they can get some rest and find better employment. What do you say, boys? And one of the others is like, I think that's a good idea. And he's like, we'll be taking them along now. And the horse rider rides up in front of them. And he says, I can't let you do this. This is my uncle and this is my aunt, and they should be able to rest in peace. And the Rust brother says, no. They've been recruited. They're the property of the Iron Guard, and they're going to be trained as soldiers whether you like it or not. Now hand them over. And the horse rider says, this is despicable. These were respectable people. And he's like, silence! One more word, one more bit of insolence out of you, and you'll lose your head. And then you'll join them. And the rider stops and they're all looking at each other, and the Rust brothers run up and one by one start collecting the dead, slinging them over the back of their horses just in a quivering heap. And then the leader nods toward the wagon and says, check if there's anything else. They owe us tithes anyway. And they start ransacking the wagons, just going through them, pulling out valuables, whatever they can find. One of them goes through the wagons and says, "There's not much, to be honest." And he's like, "Fine, take what you can get." He stuffs a few things into his backpack, you can't tell what, slings it over his back, gets back up on the horse. And they're like, "All right then, we'll be on our way. Thank you, fine citizens, and have a marvelous day. For Rust! For Rust!" And they go riding off back in the direction that they came from, with the dead jester slung over the back of their horses. They're gone within a couple of minutes. They salute you as they go past Ayan, and as they ride up over the crest of the hills, the leader of the caravan gets down off of his horse, falls to his knees, weeping.
Yeah. I look around for my party members to see if I can spot any of them.
They can stay hidden or show themselves up to them.
Elbow crawl over to Grunrock. You think he's gonna ask these people to join us too?
I don't know.
I'm gonna pop my head up from behind my hiding spot.
Are they gone?
Yeah.
Did they take the old one?
The old one.
Yeah, the hag, the oh no, I see her there.
He's still there.
Ah, damn it! I'll walk over to where Dahlia fell. Dahlia!
Not even your friends want
Are you alive?
Mrs. Polmore is there going, "Those are no true Rust brothers. Rust brothers would never be so rude."
Rust brothers are horrific bastards. I'm gonna start trying to get Dahlia out. They are terrible fucking people. They're even worse than you.
I'm helping, trying to pull Dahlia out of the hole.
Well, I never. Yeah, Dahlia's out of the hole now. She's scuffed up her legs and her knees and her ankles fallen into a hole, but she was too afraid to crawl out of it. She's like, "I think I have bugs all over me. I couldn't have held still much longer."
Does she have bugs all over her?
Oh, yeah.
Just go rinse off in the river.
What is it with you and wanting to be in the ground? Come on, let's go wash your legs off.
It's true. She's fallen in a lot of holes. Right. So, yeah, the leader of the caravan is very sad. They're gathering their things and discussing what they want to do. They're actually having an argument about whether to go back. One of them is stubborn and wants to go back. And the lady's saying, "No, we can't go back. They'll just kill us all. It'll get us nowhere. This is not our day to fight."
Up northwest, there's this really cool town. It's got a
Excuse
cool
me?
bar.
Tell Yarwim, if you go to the Hollows, you can tell Yarwim that we sent you.
He might give you a discount.
Great ale.
I've heard of the Hollows.
I'll take the mug out that I borrowed from the Hollows as I was walking out to drink. Be like, "Can return this for a free beer."
He says, "I'm sorry, that's a bit too close to the fabled Dankwood for my taste. We're bound for Amber's Peak, where we can be with our own people."
And you're sure it's not the way you came?
Quite sure. He came from southwest. You believe Amber's Peak to be to the southeast.
I thought he came directly south.
These
No,
people-
they're following up the river. We were following
Yeah.
the river southwest.
Yeah,
'Cause there was,
they're coming
the
from
river
the
stopped us
southwest.
from going south or east.
Yep.
Perhaps we can share the road.
They're going up.
They're going northeast.
You decided to go southwest, and they're going
Northeast.
northeast.
They seem to know where they're going.
No, they don't.
They seem to not know. They're searching for a ford, but they think that Amber's Peak is up in that direction somewhere.
Oh.
Yeah, we were searching for a ford to the southwest. They are searching for a ford to the northeast. Across this river that runs.
He says there's
stragglers.
a bridge back that way near the inn, but we can't go that way now. That's why we're looking for an alternative way across the river. If you're looking across, you'll find one that way.
That's where the Rust brothers came from.
Yes. Well, not from the inn, but from They stopped at the inn and then kept going. In fact, he says, we stopped at the inn and then the Rust brothers showed up before we could get settled in, and we had to flee.
Gotcha.
We didn't even get to stay a night and rest our legs.
I'm sorry about your relatives.
We know what that's like. We found the blood mist last night.
You did? I've heard tales of its sighting, but I've not seen it in all my days wandering these plains. I tell you, you must be very fortunate travelers to have stumbled on it.
Sure feels fortunate.
What would make it fortunate?
He was being sarcastic.
We're all just dense.
Would you enjoy company heading in the direction you're going?
You're welcome to accompany us if you like.
Mrs. Palmer, go ahead and hop in their carriage. We're going to go check out that inn.
You wouldn't have to walk anymore.
Yeah, you get to ride in their carriage. They're heading straight for Amber's Peak.
She looks at them.
Smells a little bit like zombie jesters.
She's certainly close enough to death.
She came from the Hollows. She's used to the dead walking.
And she's great company.
She says, I've heard
Copper.
the Galdanes are civilized folk. And he says, well, thank you, madam. I can assure you that we are. But do we have room? And the lady's going, of course we have room. And he's going, do we have room?
She's 3 copper to have room. I'll give you 3 copper to have room.
We're really trying to sell her.
He'll agree to those terms.
I will hand him 3 copper.
Mrs. Polmore's going, I am not some property to be sold.
No, we're paying for your way. Unless you wanted to pay 3 copper for them to give you a ride.
Well,
But yeah, we would never impose upon you like that. Unfortunately, we can only afford for one trip for you.
And not Dahlia.
But with these civilized people, I'm sure you would love their...
Dahlia's going, I can't just send Mrs. Polmore off on her own to be all alone.
You're not sending
You're
her off
not.
on her own. She has
sending
2
her
great
first.
company with her.
And we're sending her ahead of you.
Yes.
So she can get established, and we'll get you there later.
I've been her faithful servant for 17 years, and
it'll be 18 next year when you meet her in Amber's Peak.
Mrs. Polmore's like, Dahlia, if you abandon me, I swear. And Dahlia's going, but I should accompany my lady.
Dahlia, we will get you there.
We can't stop her.
Dahlia, I strongly
There's
recommend
safer.
you do not follow this woman who has insulted you constantly on this trip. For her own faults, I might add.
Make a manipulate roll.
Also, Dahlia, we are still going to get you to Amber's Peak. Just on a different day. You've been in her service for 17 years. Take 2 weeks to be away from her and see if it's what you still want.
Mrs. Polmore says, she's my servant, and look at the state of my shoes. Someone needs to wash these things out. And Dahlia looks at her, and then looks at you, and then looks at her, and then looks at you, and she says, I think I could take the scenic route. And she walks towards the party.
Yes.
And Mrs. Palmer's like, Dahlia, I am so disappointed. What would your mother say? And Dahlia
Put
says,
my arm around Dahlia and just...
Dahlia says, Mrs. Polmore, my mother is dead, and I'd like to see the world now. I will see you in Amber's Peak. I hope you enjoy your trip. And then she turns and starts walking in the opposite direction with all of you.
Let's go.
Middle finger
Mrs.
up.
Palmer's
Just,
gonna die, isn't she?
I hope so.
God, I hope so.
The caravan
hope
goes
not.
off in the opposite direction with the sound of Mrs. Polmore spitting curses as it goes. And she fades into the distance. And Dahlia's standing with all of you, looking apprehensively back over her shoulder like she's not sure if she's made the wrong decision. But she's not saying anything.
Cook us up something great to eat tonight. You'll feel better after you have a full stomach.
Like widow scheme, overthrown a local government, sold an official,
Trafficking.
trafficking.
All right. Yeah.
When
So
last we met our heroes.
when last we met our human traffickers.
If Palomar stayed with us one more night, I was going to steal her shoes and tell her that she had to be nice to get them back.
That's so crazy because Aimee was gonna steal her hands. So you know.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you set off to the southwest as you were traveling before. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Belly of wolf.
I think we have one more hex.
You do. You have another hex without further rolls required. I'm going to make an encounter roll and reveal the hex. And
we have
About the
another
belly
hex.
of the wolf.
You get to move 2 hexes in the plane.
because you're in planes, you get 2 hexes for each make the way.
Doesn't he do another find the way roll or whatever?
No.
Nope.
Oh,
There's only one? I thought it was one.
each
every
time you
hex.
enter a hex, you make a find the way roll, but you get to do 2 hexes in a quarter day. So yes, we do need another find the way roll to see if there's a mishap. And in the meantime, you come upon the banks of a mighty lake where the river widens out, and you can see that it is maybe a mile or 2 across. It's a pretty big lake.
My God, Ian!
It's unbelievable.
He's doing his best.
He is.
Is
The
he?
dice are
I
ridiculous.
couldn't do that. My survival's terrible.
Yeah, my survival's only 3.
I'm just glad I've nailed every manipulation roll I've made.
I don't get it.
It's pretty insane. All right. Here we go. This is
I'm
going
gonna
to
start
be
rolling real dice.
You should
We're gonna turn Dahlia into a proper
change
adventurer.
something. All right.
Or she's gonna die. I don't know which.
Or she can hang out with us until we make a stronghold.
And then we'll
True.
lock her away there.
No, she
Keep
can
her in
be,
a tower.
she can be the. I was gonna say we can hire her. She can be the attendant.
Hire her.
I'm gonna kill my dog. He will not stop whining.
But hurt him.
Bully, I'm gonna skin you and make 2 good dogs. So all
Wow.
that baggy skin you have.
That's a clip right there. All right, so
No. No.
maybe we better not draw attention to what was just said. We don't need PETA to be on our stream.
And that's not the
right.
person who want to subscribe.
Are you kidding? That sounds like free publicity. Nobody likes PETA.
I'm not going to touch that one. Okay. You are traveling along into the hex, and on the banks of the water, there is some floating just driftwood out there on the lake, about 20 or 30 feet out, and there is a black raven perched upon it that looks eerily familiar, and it has yellow eyes, and it is tilting its head and watching you.
Can we do insight?
I don't even need to. I'm gonna look at it like Marigold.
Oh, is that the name?
Just stand there and stare at it. Following us is a little creepy.
It's just watching you patiently, occasionally tilting its head.
I'm just gonna be on guard for when this thing swoops down to try and take some food from us.
Is that the one that stole our food, or is that our golden-eyed friend?
Yes.
Oh, oh, it's the same person! Hey! Thanks for the food.
It goes, ah! And then flutters off into the sky and disappears.
Creepy. Watch us.
No encounter.
I
Yes.
still want to know what he wants.
Alrighty. So we are on to the next quarter of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What was his name?
Marigold. That's what we were told his name was.
Marigold? Like the flower?
Yes.
But with no D.
Okay.
So it's now evening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which means I sleep.
I am gonna try and make camp.
Bye-bye, Mrs. Palmore.
Dahlia looks a little broken up, and she's very quiet for most of the night. You can tell she feels deeply guilty about what has happened.
It'll be okay.
Dahlia's going to rest. Everybody place yourselves where you'd like to be for evening.
I am there.
I am there.
I'm there.
All right. There's no encounter in the evening. Let's get a make camp roll.
Let's see if I can do it.
Please. Just for once. Just one time.
A make camp is survival, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get +1 for Pathfinder.
That's just for lead the way.
Yep.
It is not your night, Joe.
Oh man.
I think Joe has rolled 18 dice without a success now. And counting. This is pretty something. Pretty something.
Look, man, you guys need to pay me for me to do a good job.
For you to do a good job.
Uh-huh.
Look,
Don't do this shit for free.
We got rid of your guilty conscience, kinda.
I feel good.
We shunted your guilty conscience onto somebody else.
Yeah, I feel fine.
I hope they kill her.
The Rust Brothers might come after him again.
A massive rainfall starts in the middle of the night.
Oh,
The camp is
Bro.
flooded. Everything is soaking wet. All adventurers in the camp, because it was a camp without sufficient shelter and the rainstorm waited until after dark to roll in, no one gets to sleep tonight during the nighttime, and everyone must make one endurance roll for the effects of cold.
Do I
It is
still get my sleep
pounding
effects?
rain.
Since I'm sleeping in the
You're
evening?
sleeping right
You're sleeping
now,
while
yeah.
they're setting up camp, yeah.
I slept this morning while foraging. It
Okay.
sounds so weird. That sounds wrong. But
Rest.
yeah.
Oh, rest is different from sleep. Rest is how you regain lost stat points, and it
I
happens.
see.
Rest happens while you are sleeping. That's why they're connected with the arrow. You still need to sleep each day, but it means that you can recover your stat points while doing foraging or whatever. So you get to do it an additional time or whatever.
Screwed up yesterday. I don't think I slept.
That's okay. Now we know.
Yeah.
Right.
You were being a crafting fiend fixing your clothes.
Yeah. All right. We'll do this quickly.
Oh yeah, I need endurance.
Anyone who
Oh,
fails the
sorry.
endurance roll,
I don't think you need to make an endurance because you're not going to be in the camp. You are keeping watch. Right? He's sleeping right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watch, but do I still have to make an endurance roll against the cold?
you will whenever you rest, because there's not a sufficient camp.
But he's sleeping right now.
Sleeping
the
while
rain.
you're making camp before the rain.
That's
Yeah.
what we've been doing. Is he's been like he's
Sleeping
been
on the
keeping
dirt.
watch during the night.
What the rain thing says is that everybody has to roll for the effects of cold, and no one gets to take a sleep action during the night.
I failed anyway, so
Can we push these rolls?
You are allowed to push these endurance rolls if you want to. Taking damage from cold is 1 point to strength and wits. So if you would rather push than do that, then it's up to you.
I'm still here petitioning for spooning to help.
Spoon dice. Maybe we
Yeah.
need a spoon talent.
Uh-huh.
I can push it. I'm not gonna take any damage from pushing. I might take damage from pushing, but
Yeah,
not.
but you'll still be up if you succeed. I can't risk it because if I take another point of damage, I'll be out as soon as the cold does damage.
Oh no!
Oh,
What does
Well,
that
you
mean?
succeeded and you gain 3 willpower points.
And you take
but I
3
also
points of
take
damage
3
to
points
your
of damage to my strength.
strength. You're like shivering with fever in the morning. Yeah, you feel weakened and drained, and like you can barely lift your arms by the end of the night. But you manage to fend off the effects of cold eventually.
Wait. What happened to evening?
No, that's
Yeah.
what we're on.
Yeah,
is
we're on.
evening.
Well,
Okay, wait,
Josh should had it on
wait.
night.
Yeah. Okay. Evening is when the make camp roll was rolled.
Yes.
Mhm.
Uh,
And then that's where I failed it.
Yeah.
Everybody makes the endurance rolls in the evening because that's when the mishap happens. And the mishap's text says that this night nobody can sleep.
Okay.
Okay.
So everybody makes the endurance roll during the evening, and then we move on to night if people want to do other
Wait.
actions or whatever.
No, I still have an
Jolo
evening.
and I
Okay.
still have.
Okay, do your
evening
evening actions then.
Go ahead.
I need to make a wits roll. Damn it!
And I'm cooking.
Okay, you cook.
Man, this game's
I have-
brutal.
I have my field kitchen, so I can make 2d6 worth of food instead of 1d6 units of food, and we have 6 things of food to cook.
Okay.
So ideally, I'm trying to get
Total.
at least 6.
During the rainstorm, the shell thing happens again.
Somebody.
You get a new bead on the lightning location, and the shell is glowing again and doing the thing that it was doing the other night during the storm.
Okay, so
I will now tell you exactly how far. I'm not going to switch us back to the map just yet, but I will tell you that 1 hex to the south across the lake is where the lightning is striking.
okay.
Across the lake.
You're on the
Yes.
northern banks of a lake. On the opposite side of the lake, in the next hex to the south, is where you see the lightning striking. It's not super apparent, but it strikes there more often than elsewhere, and you notice through the vision in the shell that it keeps striking the same peak of the same hill.
So it's the same place as yesterday. So it's not east, it's west.
South. It's south of where we
It's
are
south
right
of where
now.
you are right now.
Okay.
Where are you? I don't know where you're getting east and west from.
Because he said the other side of the bank.
The other side of the lake, which is south. We're on the north side of the lake.
Do you see where you are?
It's somewhere. It's this hex down here,
Got you.
and we are in this one.
You're on the northern bank of a lake. In the next hex to the south, across the lake, about just a few kilometers away, there's a distant hilltop, and you see it getting hit by lightning a disproportionate amount. And the shell seems to be giving you a vision of the place. And
Josh.
in fact, it is shimmering more brightly than it was a few days ago.
I managed to cook all 6 pieces of vegetables that we had.
Okay, cool.
I have the second rank in chef,
Oh, nice.
so whenever
you
I
get 2d6.
cook,
All right.
well, yeah, and then I also I have the second level in chef, so when I cook for a quarter of a day, I create an extra unit of food.
Okay.
So we have 7 units of food.
Nice. So that's 1 for everybody, and then 2 extras. If everybody wants to bump up their food die by 1.
Yeah, what is Dahlia at?
She was out.
She was also out. Okay. And were you counting her into that 1 for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, was everyone out?
Nope.
No, I was out. You, me, and Dahlia.
Okay. Then I will give the extra pieces to you and me, Velas. And then if Dahlia needs food, then that should put us all at a D8 and her at a D6.
Okay.
And then any of us can give her an extra die if she needs the food.
Yeah, because it's her and not Miss Polymore.
Yes. I hand her victuals.
We really threw this lady out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving it.
Okay, so that should be the end of the evening activities, right?
Yeah. Get us back on the exploration tab here.
Now it's night, where I suffer a point of damage to strength and a point of damage to agility.
And Grunrock keeps watch and loses a ton of strength.
But you can get your strength points back from resting tomorrow, right?
Technically.
So
Okay,
then let's just
no
first
encounter.
text. Let's
There
just
was
rest.
almost an encounter, but there was no encounter. All right. So, the night passes without further event. If anybody has die rolls to make, go ahead and do them.
So we get to, instead of sleep, we get to choose something else to do for the night.
Yeah, because it's pounding rain too hard to sleep.
Would it be
okay.
too difficult to forage?
You can try to forage at night in the rain. It'll be at a -1 die, which might increase the chance of a mishap.
I'll give him a +1 and also forage because I have nothing else to do.
I will try and impersonate Miss Polymore.
What?
I'm working on
yeah.
getting Path of the Face.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Dahlia will aid in the foraging.
Josh going, what?
You get 2
really,
extra
really
dice
good at
because
it,
Dahlia's
guys.
going to help look for food as well. You're just in the pounding rain, rummaging around for shelter and seeing if you stumble on anything while looking.
I'm using my pride as well.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm giving you a +1. I'm not going to bother rolling.
Oh my god!
The pride is dead.
Wait, but did you add my +1 for helping you?
I did. It was -2 because foraging in the plains and
Oh.
in the rain, and then
Well, you lost your pride.
The master
Don't lose your
botanist is
pride.
losing confidence in himself.
Push it.
He can't.
No?
I mean, I don't think it will affect the pride thing. He could push the roll.
We can't. I thought we couldn't push these rolls.
Oh, maybe not.
You can't push
Okay.
rolls made
My bad.
on exploration tasks on any of the things on this grid. The master botanist is losing faith in himself.
I'm keeping the bad survival rolls going.
You are now on like 25 dice without a success something. It's a little absurd. It's ridiculously unlikely, actually. Because it's, yeah.
You guys can't make me succeed. No one can.
I'm my own failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one can.
Pride. So I guess I need to.
There's a 1% chance of rolling that many dice in a row without a success. Literally 1%. You rolled a nat 1 on a D100. Okay.
So you don't have a pride this session, and you won't have one next session.
And then the
you get to
session
pick
after
a
that,
new
you get to
one.
pick a new one based on whatever's happened or is going on.
Pride myself
You're in
on
strange
being the
terrain.
worst survivalist.
You're in strange terrain and you keep failing rolls and you're losing confidence in yourself and you're encountering new and strange rules of the wilderness that your master did not prepare you for, and it has broken your confidence and led you to search your soul for a new purpose in life besides being the guy that knows all the plant stuff. And
I could roll 30 dice and not roll a single 6 by new pride.
we are on to... Oh, Velas got that success.
Wait, did Dahlia roll?
She aided. She added a die.
Oh.
To me?
Yeah, to you.
Oh, I
You
didn't
didn't
add
roll
that
that.
one.
Just roll
Roll
one
another
more.
one.
Roll a d6.
Come on, buddy.
If it's a 6, then you don't lose your pride.
Come on, buddy.
Oh, I can't tell which one's D6. It's so the
Just
text.
/R 1d6.
Okay. You guys ready?
Yes.
Ready?
Nope. 1d6.
This was nighttime, so
Oh my god.
That's the opposite end of the die.
Is that a good one?
we're now
Did I do
sub
it?
1%. All right,
Did I make the thing happen?
Joe, you could play 100 sessions and not be this bad at survival again.
If you roll 100 d6s, I doubt any of them will turn into 6s at one point.
Please /R 100.
It's morning. Let's keep it going. It is now
Wait,
morning.
It's gonna populate so big.
So, did I take damage?
Don't
from
do
the
it.
Yeah, I
cold?
was about to say.
I failed my endurance roll.
Yeah. Then you took 1 strength and 1 wits. What was that? What it was?
Agility.
Right.
And then
No, it's if you fail an endurance roll against cold, you lose a point of strength and wits.
Oh, okay. So
What
then
about-
we haven't
what-
slept either.
Yeah. What about my fuck ups as well? Does
Now that it's morning, the rain has broken,
No, because you didn't push anything. I don't think.
which
you take
means you
damage.
could
Okay.
rest somewhere during the day if you want to. But as it's morning, we have to do food and water rolls right now. And you can all pick what activity you want to do for the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Christ.
I just made this food.
Y'all hungry?
Yeah. Did you experience the night that just happened? Talia got a skull. You gave her 2 units of food, Bill, or 1?
She had
She
one.
said one.
1, 2,
She
3,
eats the
4,
last of her
5,
food.
6, 7. Okay. That's fine. Someone can give her some more food if we don't cook them more.
All right.
Bill, you said if you're going up a rank in something, you don't have to roll. You just need to spend a quarter day.
No, you don't have to do either. You just get it.
Oh,
You spend the points.
cool. Well, I'm just gonna spend some points then.
Were you just going to sleep this morning?
Yeah.
Someone should probably keep watch.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
All right.
I've gotten us this far.
Does Dahlia
Everybody
want to
decided?
sleep?
Yeah, she'll sleep.
Actually, I can recover just resting, right?
You can recover stat points resting, but you still need to sleep once every 24 hours or you get tired.
Gotcha. I slept in the evening, so I'll sleep this evening. I'll stay awake for right now.
All right.
You're
No
good.
encounter. Everybody sleeps or rests. No watch roll is required. The morning passes uneventfully into daytime. The weather is a lot better right now.
All right.
Now
I guess.
travel.
Yeah. Move another hex. Hopefully find a bridge.
All right, move yourselves to your daytime activities. We've got to lead the way, which is sure to succeed.
Joe maniacally laughing.
And we have a keep watcher while we're marching. All right. Let's do it.
Don't worry, guys. I got this.
He got this.
Something's
don't
broken.
understand.
I think something's broken.
Roll it again. Just keep rolling till you get some successes. There you go.
Immediately.
Buddy,
So his oh my god,
stop! You're gonna waste them all.
That's not how it works.
So yeah, so we're gonna have another mishap here.
I don't want us to get anywhere this session.
No, this is the same thing that happened in the forest. You're really bad at rolling navigation.
He's just frustrated. Are you adding Pathfinder to it?
What's,
I am.
Oh my god. Oh my
No,
god.
what's the next level in Pathfinder?
Oh god. Let me look.
Leading the way counts as a rest for you.
Are we traveling
And then-
west along the river? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Rank 3, you get to add a D8 artifact die to your survivor roll. So, Joe, you're banned from taking any other talents. You have to get rank 3 in
None of you
Pathfinder.
guys know that I'm failing this.
Yeah, we do when we fall in quicksand or
I didn't
get
fall in
attacked by
quicksand,
skeletons.
and you guys didn't walk directly behind me. And then the rain? Who can control the rain? Not me.
I don't
I
think the
can't control
rain.
the rain.
I don't think the rain was a failed Pathfinder. That was a failed make camp roll.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
all
so.
survival.
Yeah.
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 Look, man, all of these things are out of my control. I like to
These-
see you guys do better.
Nature is a beast, and it's karma for selling an old lady.
Was getting lost in the forest like karma
Pre-karma.
for us? Yeah, I was say pre-karma.
It's
We-
called pre-karma.
Pre-karma.
That was pre-karma for the Black Widow scheme, and also probably Marigold guy screwing with us.
It's a reasonable solution is anything.
Marigold? Marigo?
Miracle.
Marigold.
Okay.
Look, I succeeded on my most recent survival roll. That's the one we're taking.
Oh, what's the mishap?
Blocked terrain. The way forward is blocked by flooding from the heavy rain on the river last night. The path is washed away, and you will make no progress this quarter day unless you make a might roll to push something into the river that you can use as a bridge, like like knocking over a big tree or pushing some rocks down a hill to create a ford. Or everybody can make a move roll to try to get across. Anyone failing any of these rolls, might or move, will suffer a point of strength. And if anyone fails, then you will not make progress this quarter day. And will need to finish your journey into this hex in the evening.
I got an all right might.
Yeah.
If
go
you don't
ahead,
want to
because
risk
you can-
taking any damage, you can also take another quarter day to walk around the long way. And
I
it
also
just
have a
means you
solid
get into
move,
this hex
so
in
I
the
can go either
evening.
way.
I'm
So
gonna
it's
help
up
the
to you.
goblin push some rocks in the and try and
All right.
ford the flooding.
All right, let's
So
get a
if he
might roll
helps
then.
me, it goes to skill.
Yes. And if you succeed on the might roll, you create a ford for everybody to run across. But if you fail, you will take a damage and will not make progress this quarter day. All right. You create a rock slide by pushing some rocks over a nearby hill to create a ford so that you can get all of yourselves across the water without having to risk being swept into the river or any of that. Or getting
goblin arms.
soaked and wet and cold again. And you make your way across.
Quick rules question.
Yes.
So for Pathfinder, I add +1. Is it to the skill die or the base die?
Skill
And
die.
does it make a difference?
Modifiers are always on skill dice, and yes, it makes a
Okay.
difference because the base die have skulls and the skill dice don't.
Okay.
Right. You make a natural ford. You have no encounter this quarter day, and you make your way to a quaint rest stop.
We still can move one more hex in a quarter day.
You could if you want to go into a different hex, but you see a rest stop here, and you can either stop there. You have encountered an adventure site, quote unquote, a place. So you can either go into it, or you can continue traveling another hex on the map on past it.
Exploring will take the evening time.
Yeah.
That's a different quarter day.
Yeah. If you go into this place, it's a little town. It's really a couple of sheds and shacks and things and one prominent inn. It has a sign swinging outside that says the Wolf's Belly Inn, and there's a little wooden fence enclosing a courtyard with a very cheap-looking stables outside, a couple of sheds and shacks and things, and there is a nearby bridge with a rope tied across it, and a bell, like a rusty old bell swinging by it. And there are presently no horses in the stables, though there's deep, muddy footprints around the town that would indicate to you that many horses have passed through here recently. And there's an older-looking man with a straw hat sitting on the front porch outside of the inn who nods at you from a distance.
Well, do we want to crash here for the evening? Maybe buy some supplies?
You can go in and say hello briefly and decide if you want to stay here or not. But if you stay for any significant length of time, it becomes the evening event or the evening segment.
Real quick question, because it will impact whether or not I want to stay at this inn. Do I recognize any of these horses from?
He said there are no horses.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that when I got panicky.
Bill is right.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think we should stay.
I'm fine with that.
You want
Let's
to approach
explore,
the
then.
Wolf's Belly?
If we stay
All right.
here tonight, then when we travel tomorrow, we can hit 2 hexes and be where the lightning was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stay here.
All right.
What do you
Yeah.
think, Dahlia?
Yeah, you've been pretty quiet, and I know the old bag's gone, but
She says, I can't lie. I would like a rest.
Seems
Well,
perfect then.
It would be nice to
Let's
be under
check it
a
out.
roof for a little bit.
We have had a few rocky nights out camping.
And this is the first sign of civilization we've seen since we left the Hollows. Sorry, just making a note. All right. The old man on the porch is chewing on a piece of straw, and he nods at you as you approach. It's like, travelers, have you come far?
Too far, good sir. Afternoon to you.
Where are you from?
Oh, here and there. Lingmel is the furthest I've traveled.
Lingmel, wait a minute. And he squints and he's like, elves? Bunch of elves? Sorry, my eyesight's not so good.
Yeah, three elves, and one short elf and a human.
Ah, you're a goblin.
That's what it was called.
I'm
Goblin.
no
I keep forgetting the
fool.
word.
Hello.
He's friendly and house trained.
I am.
At least friendly.
That's a relief. Dangerous one, I see. And he kind of nudges your sword with his walking stick.
Hey,
Oh.
it's mine. I'm not gonna use it on nobody,
Yeah, it's alright.
but it stays with me.
This place is welcoming of strangers of all stripes. Please go on in. There's mutton and stew on the fire, and we'd be happy to have you stay for the night.
Had
gonna
me
kinda
go
like-
on in.
Lean a little bit down and see if I can see his eyes.
His eyes look a little hazy.
Are they a normal color?
They're not yellow. They're a normal color.
And I'll go inside.
Okay.
They're magenta.
All right. You get inside. You're warmly welcomed by a big guy in an apron, and he's like, "Visitors, welcome to the
Yes!
Wolf's Belly."
Never trust a skinny cook.
Right?
The name's Goward. Pleasure to meet you all. Come on in, please. Rest your feet. You look so tired.
Thank you so much for the welcome.
Oh, come on.
I'm Vergello. We've all been traveling for a few days and have had some rough nights. We were looking to rent a room or two and get some good eats.
There's 2 or 3 people that look like they probably reside here. There is an older lady. There's one young man who's very muscular and quiet looking, who has a broadsword by his side, strapped on a belt, which is maybe a little unusual for an innkeeper in the middle of nowhere. And there's there's an older lady. There's the big, hefty guy in the apron. His apron is stained with blood all over the front, by the way. And he's the one that gave you the warm welcome. And then there's this younger guy who's got a broadsword on him, who's just sort of stoically standing in the corner, arms folded, watching you all. And there's one guy in the corner who has a brown hood raised up and you can't see his face, who is sitting alone sipping a drink, and he is wearing a dusty brown cloak and looks like he's been on the road because he's just covered in dirt and dust and mud.
That's me in the corner.
That's me in the spotlight. All right, so you all walk in.
Yes.
The guy in the corner doesn't even lift his head when you walk in. He's just got a hand on a mug and keeps his face concealed. And everybody else is sort of watching you intently. And the guy in the apron, who introduced himself as Groward, welcomes you in to the Wolf's Belly. He says, "We've got a great feast cooking for tonight. You came at an opportune time. Food's included with rooms here. You won't find better prices in the area, and we're happy to have travelers as long as you're happy to share tales of your adventures."
Absolutely. What were those prices for rooms?
They are standard, and they are the same as in the Hollows. At the Tavern, it's a few coppers. I can look it up while we proceed.
Okay. Yeah.
But he
I
basically
imagine we're all
says
gonna get a room.
if you pay for a room for the night, then you get a meal with it.
Oh, absolutely. I will absolutely cough up that money for a room.
He says, we actually have enough rooms for everybody tonight if you'd like. We don't have a lot of traffic today.
Perfect. Sounds amazing.
Like sharing rooms.
What?
We like sharing rooms.
That's all right, too. Suit yourselves. Right,
I'm going to get my own room. I'm fine with that. I'm going to pay for my own room.
How many
separate rooms are 5 copper. If you want to sleep on a bench in the common room, that's 2 copper. So it's 5 copper for a 1-person private room, 2 copper for just sleeping in the common room overnight. Those are your options. The private rooms here are not very big.
Would it be big enough for me and Dahlia?
Sure. 2 people max.
I'll pay for Dahlia and I.
You won't get a free meal. You only get 1 free meal per room that you purchase, though.
That's fine. She
Okay.
can have the meal.
All good.
How much copper is in a silver?
10. It's 10 to 10 to 10. Copper, silver, gold, platinum. Okay. He welcomes you in. He goes and turns the mutton on the spit, and he goes into his back storeroom for a little bit, and the old lady sits down across the table from you, and she's like, "Where do you come from?"
Sorry.
A talkative bunch, aren't you?
Are we
Apologies.
relying on me to tell the story?
It's just the fact that we parted ways with a previous guest who was not so kind and welcoming as you are. We've come from the Hollows and have sort of followed the river, and we found a pocket of the blood mist that almost took us. Had some food washed away. I made lovely vegetables and blackberry, cooked some food. It was amazing. And forded a river. That was just the last 3 days.
That's quite a trip.
Indeed.
The weather's been rough this week. Been hearing
chaos.
Thunder around the
Terrible.
clock.
Unusually bad.
Just keeps striking even when it's not raining some of the time.
It's certainly curious.
Josh, could I insight that guy that didn't look up the traveler? Is he like seeming to hide his face?
Yeah.
I can insight yes, or he is definitely trying to hide his face.
It doesn't require an insight roll. When you look towards him, he turns away. You see the tip of a nose, the tip of a chin here or there. He's keeping very concealed as much as he can. He puts his hand up and covers his face, and he's occasionally taking a sip of his drink. You do get a feeling that maybe he's watching you when you let your guard down and turning away when you're not.
Do you know who that guy is?
Oh, him?
Mm-hmm.
He's a traveler just like you. Wouldn't share his name. Arrived here this morning, said he'd just be passing through. Hasn't decided if he's even staying the night. He's an odd one, he is. Doesn't seem to want to talk much.
Can't imagine why.
You might want to watch for him. I think he has a weapon. Might be a brigand of some sort.
Thank you.
If I played some music just to liven up the mood a little bit.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I'm going to play some
Okay.
music.
All right, we're cruising on into the evening. We're going to fast forward a bit. The people in the inn are eager to hear your tales of what you've seen in the countryside. The Groward, the who seems to be the innkeep here, he keeps going in and out of the kitchen preparing the feast for tonight, and the
Call
quote
on his
unquote
apron when
feast.
He comes by and hand him 2 copper. I'm gonna sleep on a bench.
That's not
All
what
right.
that looked like.
That's not what that looked like.
I know, but
Banned
I'm
from
short.
Twitch.
Y'all gotta-
Josh, is
Yes.
it possible as Vergello was like playing music for me? I want to try and I want to try and like stealth, like be a little less seen. I want to move to a place where I can kind of see this guy's face, who's like
Okay.
definitely.
You're trying to sneak a peek. All right. Noted. You can do that. The guy is going to. He doesn't sit in the exact same place totally still all day. He does eventually get up to stretch and walk outside. If you're actively trying to get a glimpse of his face, you can do so.
I wanted to try and like maybe stealth, so like he wouldn't be as intentional at hiding, so it wouldn't be as difficult to see him.
Yeah. So you want to get a look at his face without him knowing that you were trying to get a look at his face, basically? Okay, yeah, make a stealth roll, that's fine. He's going to get up and walk around a little bit. You can all make a stealth roll to be sneaky and a scouting roll to see what you see. The innkeep is starting to bring out food and drinks. He invites Vergello to play music if you want to. He says, unfortunately, we can't pay you directly for your service, but we've not had a bard pass through in quite some time.
Oh, no worries. I'm happy to entertain.
Stealth good?
I used my pride. I didn't realize it would roll before.
It rolls separate, but it's part of the roll.
Together.
It's fine. Okay, so you got 2 successes on stealth, and then make a scouting roll, since you're watching the guy closely. Scouting. Nice. All right. The innkeep is setting the table. Aimee, you're going to notice a couple things. Is Vergello playing music right now?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to swap to the Tavern track.
Or is it just going to do it? Okay.
But I am going to swap to the Tavern track here.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots.
Oh, God. Okay. Aimee, you're going to notice a couple things here. And only you notice this. Everybody else is partying down. This stranger, you catch a glimpse of his face. He has I don't want to say statuesque because that means something different, but a statue-like stoic expression on his face. You catch one glimpse in which he makes intense eye contact with you for a second, and you recognize this guy as a still elf, one of the old elves who has barely any facial expression, who much of the life and enthusiasm has drained out of him over the years, and his facial features have simplified to where he almost looks like a statue. A shadow of the vibrant, living face that you wear day to day. This is an elf that is old and experienced and has been around a long, long time. And when you make eye contact with you, he's going to wink and then keep walking around and break eye contact with you. And then, with your success on the scouting roll, you notice that as the innkeep is setting the table, pouring drinks, moving food around, the elf is sleight of hand rearranging which drinks and which food are at which seats.
Is he messing with my friend's food and drinks?
Yeah. He's acting like he's helping to set the table, but he's actually subtly swapping things around after the innkeep sets them down every time people aren't looking.
I'm gonna kind of move up to him.
And you also get a lore roll.
All the rolls.
This one, yeah, no modifier, just a lore roll. For you. For anybody else, this would be at a negative modifier, but because you are a pure elf, I'll give you a lore roll with no modifier.
Man, y'all are...
Can you push
You can push it if you want, or leave it as is.
Yeah, well, it's not like
You got no skulls, so I guess pushes.
You got no skill.
I'm gonna click lore, and I'm gonna change it to a 2. Roll.
Why change it to a 2?
You didn't need to change it to a 2.
You didn't have any
You
skulls.
didn't get any skulls.
So you
Just
can roll
a
one more
D6.
die.
Ah!
Hey!
She gets it.
I like to build suspense.
All right. Everybody else, you are blind to this information, but I'm going to say it in the public chat. Aimee, you catch a glimpse or two of this guy's face, and then you start to slowly be like, he looks familiar. I feel like I've seen him before. And then you're like, I know where I've seen him before. And it took you a minute because he was out of context, but this is fucking Kalman Rodenfell, who is the leader of the Red Runners. This is the senior elf who commands a special elf order whose entire mission is to go out into the world and retrieve lost elven heart rubies and bring them back to Mistwall. He was rarely there, and he would actually venture out into the Blood Mist sometimes and come back. This guy is a celebrity, but he's one that you've only seen a handful of times, and it's been like 100 years, and so you're like, why does this face look so familiar?
I've seen this guy since I was like 20.
This guy is an elf celebrity and a badass of legend.
Holy cow.
Okay. Anyway, the rest of you don't know any of this. The innkeep comes out with the final thing, which is a big roast pig, and he in the middle of the table, and he's like, "We feast tonight. You came on the right night, my friends. Dig in."
Over to Kalman, and I'm gonna just like lean in. Saw you moving cups. You didn't poison the goblin, right?
I didn't. Take your seat.
Just down right next to him. Be like,
Starstruck.
a little bit.
And be on your guard. He sits down at one corner of the table, and he says, "Innkeep, is this my seat?" And he goes, Yeah, that one's for you right there. Served it up. Gave you a little extra helping because you look so tired from the road. And he's like, "Thank you kindly." And he sits down, and the innkeep sits at the head of the table, and everyone takes their seats. There's a long table in the middle of the room that's long enough for everybody here, including all of the family and friends and people that work here. So Mr. Sword Guy sits down, starts taking a bite. Innkeep sits down, starts digging in, and he wants to know. He says, "Tell you what, you tell me something I haven't heard, and I'll share a legend that you haven't heard. I love swapping stories with travelers that come through here. I know you're the stoic sort, and you don't seem too interested in chit-chat, but
do I have any
stuff in
fantastic
his face?
stories I've heard that
Tell
I
him
can
about a place, or a person, or a thing.
Let's tell him about the hollows.
If anybody has a
the
spicy
new
story,
governments.
then he'll give you one.
Out of character, I'm thinking of GoldenEye's The Int Funeral, or
The Rust brother who went crazy. The guy who went crazy.
Or even what happened on the road just earlier.
Yeah.
Blood in his pocket.
The Blood Mist Pocket, or the
I would keep back the Marigold information.
Yeah, same.
what about the 3 Iron
Iron Guard?
Iron Guard? Chasing down the caravan folk?
I'll just start telling him about our interaction with the Blood Mist just a few days ago.
Safe enough.
It seems safe enough, and that also seemed like kind of weird enough. Because no one's really seen the Blood Mist in a while.
Mm-hmm. And everybody we mentioned it to has been surprised.
Okay. Yeah, he's interested to hear your tales about the Blood Mist. And
I want to lean into Kalman and just really like quietly be like, "Food's safe."
I saw to that.
Yeah, I don't have any food to eat, but
You've been served a portion.
Oh, really?
Everybody has food and drinks in front of them.
even though I didn't pay for it.
Oh, if you didn't pay for a room.
Remember, I'm sharing the room with Alex.
Okay, so the innkeep sets the places for all the people that that paid for rooms because they get the free food, and then he says, "I tell you what, because I'm a generous soul," and he gets a plate ready. He's actually going to walk in the back and come out with a plate, and he said, and he slaps the plate down in front of you.
That is so generous of you.
Please.
I'm not gonna touch it.
Okay. He says, "Please dig in. You must be ravished."
I think I stay pretty well fed. My my friend Vergello here. He's a great cook. Tell him, Vergello, just of the wonderful things you've made.
We are close to.
I just start bragging about food.
We are close to wrap time here, but we'll come to a good stopping point in a sec. But before we do that, this guy is going to.
Goblin is going crazy.
This guy is going to. He's going to share a legend he's heard from travelers through his inn, and it's just going to be a random rumor off of a large table of random rumors, and I don't even know what it's going to be till I roll it.
I grab my water, and as I'm going to drink it, and all their drinks are safe.
He's
right,
busy.
Kelman?
He's reading.
Yeah,
He's reading. He also said you're good.
Well, hold on. We need to rewind that because he said yes, it's fine to eat because I thought she had food in front of her. I forgot. Yeah.
I'm drinking from my own flask. I'm not
Okay, the flask. Okay, that's fine then. The innkeep has just brought you food and drink. That didn't go through anyone but him.
Water from my flask.
Everybody else has food and drink in front of them. Are you all digging in?
Yep, I am.
Okay. All right. Let me get a roll here.
I paid for a room.
Yeah. Then you get a free meal.
I paid for this meal.
Yeah.
Paid for Dahlia's.
I'm so hungry. I can actually smell that mutton right now.
Oh boy.
Is it juicy?
It's juicy.
The Hollows has a bunch of undead walking around.
Oh my god.
No.
My god.
1 sec.
Yeah, we know. We just came from there. She lived there for a long time.
It said that in the middle of the Dankwood, there's a root woman with a crazy man hanging out with her who feeds her random deer. Tell us stuff we don't know.
Or he died, and she also stopped moving.
He's gonna tell a horror story. He's gonna tell a spooky tale of times long past. He says, "At the end of the Alder Wars, the demon prince they call Cressilla stood bereft of a way home to his native demonic realm of Churmog. They say it was then Zytera, the Dark One, made a deal with the terrible creature, giving it sanctuary in the ancient fortress of Vond, in return for it agreeing to guard the Shadowgate Pass against the riders from old Asleen. It is whispered that the human sacrifices that villages provide the Rust Brothers become sustenance for Cressilla, and that the demon nowadays lies fat and immobile somewhere deep in that cursed castle."
Ugh.
Or that's what I've heard.
Sounds crazy. I like it.
So, he'll show you that.
I would want to eat people.
Let's see.
I just imagine you saying that after you shove your mouth full of food.
I imagine while he's saying that, he grabs my hand and takes a bite. Ow!
I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
got too close to your food. That's okay.
Sharp goblin teeth.
There were a lot of terms dropped in that little one.
Yeah, I was like, can you drop that in the group chat later so I can put it in my notes? There's
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
fine.
of names.
Yeah,
and
you
things.
got the Elder Wars, you got Cressilla, you got Zytera, you got Shadowgate Pass, you got Asleen, you got the Rust Brothers. There was a lot in there. Anyway, he's going to share a spooky story. The gist of that story is that there's a big, hideous demon monster of ancient times that was recruited for the Alder Wars by the Dark One. And then instead of returning home, he enlisted it to guard Shadowgate Pass, and that the demon still is around, and that the Rust brothers give sacrifices to it. So, you feast.
I do not.
You do not. And the innkeeper's like, "You're not gonna eat?"
I actually...
He's still stuffing his face.
Vergella was telling you about my food, or the food that he made. I ate so much on the way here, I couldn't even eat another bite, but you know what? You are more than welcome to it.
He is already stuffing his face, and he's like, "That's all right, that's all right.
No,
I've got more than enough. We'll give the scraps to the dogs."
I implore you, and I'm going to use Path of the Killer level 3. I'm going to expend a will slot, and I'm going to... I don't know if I'll be able to, because I don't know if it will hurt him. But Path of the Killer level 3 says that... you can drop it in chat here. You can make others do your bidding.
Using hypnosis? Okay.
By spending a willpower, you can force your victim to perform a specific action at a time of your choosing.
Okay.
I've been talking to him for a few minutes. I want him to eat a piece of this food that he's insistent on me eating.
Okay. Go ahead.
Last sentence is tricky, though.
You cannot force your victim to hurt.
Oh, yeah.
So
this would be hurting himself based on what he knows.
So, like, when I implore him and he doesn't do it, that's going to make me very suspicious.
Okay, you are highly suspicious.
And I'm just going to be like, this is really interesting. Oh, also, point of order. Do I lose a willpower trying to do it?
No.
No. Okay.
You would know not to attempt it because of the hurt themselves clause.
Okay.
After Aimee is so adamant that he tries some of hers, I stop eating.
or you could expend the willpower. You probably expend the willpower point, and when it doesn't work and he seems to be hesitating even though you've got him in your gaze, that tells you. So yeah, you expend the willpower point. I think that makes the most sense. And then when it fails on him, it tells you for sure that he thinks he'll be harming himself if he eats it. And he snaps himself out of it. He says, "Well, I just want to say, you're a most generous traveler, and you are among the kindest of all of the types of people who come to this establishment."
I'm going to slow down eating and just, like, stare at him.
Instead of eating this, why don't you just not worry about me not eating?
He falls with a thud on the ground, and at this point, Broadsword Guy stops eating and is looking around suspiciously. And he's like,
"Damn. I think that might have been my plate after all."
He gets up and quickly draws his sword and falls backwards into the wall. No!
I'm gonna, like, summon the dagger just in case there's, like, a place that's off.
The old lady also collapses.
What is going on?
Everybody except you guys.
Buddy!
Everybody except you guys and the elf traveler now is laying on the ground in heaps everywhere. And he's gonna stand up.
They ate too much.
He's gonna stand up and pull his hood back, and you see what I described to Aimee, this sort of stony-faced, gray-skinned, old-looking elf with hardly any expression and just tired eyes. And he stands up and looks around the room.
Have either Bill or myself seen that type of elf before, or know who this is?
You would recognize a still elf. You probably... Okay. It would be a lore roll at a -1 to recognize this particular person, and it's hopeless for Grunralk.
Would I even know what he is?
No.
I'm other than an elf?
No.
Just think he's sickly.
I'm gonna walk over to...
Why does he look like a rock? I thought you turned into little diamonds or something.
I'm gonna walk over to where the guy is, and I'm gonna take my 5 silver back.
Yeah, I want my 5
You want to take
copper.
your money back?
I want my 2 copper back.
Help yourselves, but I recommend
get
being
any
on the road in the next few hours before they wake up.
Why would they want to do this to us?
You were going to be trafficked as slaves.
Jesus Christ. To who?
The
I
usual
don't
people
know.
who buy slaves.
You might have been sold to the haggler's house, grind bone, I don't know.
And here I was worried he was just going to eat us in the middle of the night.
Velas, I don't mean to interrupt you with your new friend, but I feel like this would be the perfect opportunity to borrow any additional supplies or gold or silver from these people while we pack up and get out of here.
He says the food in the kitchen is completely untouched. You can help yourselves to it. I wouldn't
Let's load up
recommend
on
touching
food.
the wine because I don't know which casks are tainted.
And do they have a cash register? Do cash registers exist?
Oh yeah, I'm like going through the pockets. I'm pulling all the money. Pulling everybody.
He sees you and he pulls a sword and holds it up to your throat and says, "Hold on now. That money's going somewhere else. That belongs to the victims' families."
Do you know the victims' families?
I know enough of them, yes. The Red Runners
He
need these
did
funds.
save us.
You take back what they were charging you for your rooms and your food, and if you want to grab something off the mantelpiece, be my guest. But these funds are going to the families of those that were driven through here until we can find them and bring them back.
You should have led with that. I mean, that would have been good to know. I'm just saying. I'm gonna go get some food.
I'll grab the money and just throw in the bag.
Okay.
It's been
It was
over 100 years since we've seen you in Mistwall. Where have you been?
There's a very slim chance he knows who you are.
Can't forget a face like mine.
No.
No.
Yeah.
You rolled a d6.
You have one die worth of reputation.
He needed to get a 10 on a d6. That's how
No, you need to get a 6 on a d6. You have one die worth of reputation.
Oh yeah.
We've met.
Well, I mean, not directly.
What's your name?
I'm Velasthil.
Now I remember. The impulsive daughter.
Yeah.
What are you doing this far from Mistwall?
Seeing the world? Nearly getting poisoned?
Sounds about right. Well, it's fortunate for you that I was here this night. You gotta
Yeah,
watch
I'd
out
say
for your racket. They have tendrils all over the land. And they're taking advantage of weary travelers not knowing the risks.
Fair.
How is Dahlia doing in all this?
She's in the corner rocking back and forth, probably.
God, there's so much I want to know about, and I know that we don't have a lot of time. Stick to the highlights. Do you remember the rumors of the Phantom Daggers?
Yes.
We may have found one. Do you know where the other two might be? I'm sure you know more than we do.
He says they've been lost for ages, and that only one was kept with the elves, and that it's believed that the others were taken during the Elder Wars hundreds of years ago.
Oh, but you were alive then?
Of course I was. I have no idea
guess.
where those daggers are.
Damn.
He says, "Tell you what. Let's be on our way and we can talk while we get on the road. Which way are you headed?"
We're gonna cross the lake. Where that lightning's been striking.
Oh?
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe there's an inn there.
Why not, indeed. And then he goes, "Hang on." And he walks around towards the kitchen, and then he stomps a couple of times on the floor in sort of random spots, and you hear a hollow thonk, thonk, thonk. And then he shoves a carpet out of the way and lifts a hatch in the floor. He's like, yep. And then he goes down a ladder into a dark basement. And he says, not a living soul here today. But... And he pulls out a bag, opens it up, and there's a red glow from inside. And he pulls out an elven heart ruby. They were moving something tonight. He stuffs it under his cloak. Let's be on our way.
Right, absolutely. It's fair to point out you should be somewhat aware that there might be a crow. Golden eyes. Marigold. You familiar with him?
I know that name well.
I'm gonna grab anything that looks particularly interesting off the mantle as I walk out.
Okay. Grab random stuff. Just looting another house at random.
How much
no,
food?
in the
Yeah,
inn.
I'm walking out with like arms filled with food.
Everybody can
Ross,
go
I
up
got
to
you
a.
some food too.
Everybody can go up to a D12 food die.
D12. Okay.
Yeah.
Dahlia's gonna take food and water. There's a well.
I grabbed enough food for anyone who wasn't in the kitchen with me.
You're maxed out at D12 food and water.
Nice.
And yeah.
All this is safe, or is this kind of questionable?
The food is fine.
It's safe.
The wine
Okay.
that was...
I didn't know if it would be like, we can eat it, but there might be a risk.
All right.
No, he said the food was safe.
Okay.
He'll tell you what he knows about the name Marigal while you're walking.
Yes, please. Let me add to my notes.
The name Marigal soars like a vague shadow with yellow eyes across the Forbidden Lands. No one knows for sure who the creature is, or even if it's a man or a woman. Maybe there are several Marigals, for the creature's been spotted in places far and wide from one day to the next. The young are seduced in castles and cottages, so that the yellow-eyed offspring of that creature can be found in the most distant regions and among all kin. Some believe it to be some sort of demon, others revere it as a god. The truth is, from what I've heard and what my order knows, it's as likely to help those it encounters as it is to destroy them.
Well, that tracks a bit, I guess.
He says, I believe the first mentions of it were in connection to the ancient tale of Stanengist, whose name means the hanging stones. You've heard that one, haven't you?
I think so.
The golden crown that was lost in times before.
You know, you should just refresh. I don't want to say that I didn't listen back home. But you spent time in Mistwall. Those people aren't the most interesting storytellers.
Well, I suppose I can recount the legend. It is one of great interest to my order and my people. He's going to do that. And as we are walking away from the inn and he's recounting the legend, we will end the session. But I will give you the legend before we end the session.
Cool.
He says, it's a legend that crosses kin and creed, ridge and river and road. I've heard the name whispered across many a table of foolhardy adventurers and travelers who would go seeking it, but my order knows a bit more about its true origins. It was a golden crown, forged by dwarves and gifted to elves in the ancient days before the shift. It was encrusted across its crest with the heartstones of the first 6 elves who ever walked the land, who tended the first trees and set the rivers on their course. They say whoever wore it would possess the power and wisdom to rule the Forbidden Lands as they saw fit, before a thief named Marigal stole the stones and scattered them across the land, and the crown was lost with them. and it's not been seen in all the ages since.
Well, that sounds like a fun thing to find.
I tell you to find even one of those lost elven heartstones, the ones belonging to the legendary elves of the first days, would be the greatest boon in centuries to the Red Runners, my order. But no one knows where they are, and they've not been seen for ages.
How would I know that I had found the heart? And not just any old elf heart? How would I know it was one of the 6?
They say they have a depth and a beauty that surpass all others, and that to stare into them is to see into the ancient secrets of eternity. And each belonged to a different, very wise and important entity, and were they brought back to the Still Mist, their proper resting place, then they could serve with their knowledge and wisdom the elves, rightfully. Seems the most fitting place for them to go if they were to be found, of course.
Makes sense to me. Elves should be laid to rest with elves. When we find them, should I...
Excuse me.
Should I find one and then take it, or should I wait until I have all 6?
You are an impulsive one, aren't you?
That's what they said.
Here you seemed moments ago like you had somewhere to go, and now you're going to go questing off of the ancient stones of Stanengist,
Well, no one knows where they are. So if I just explore while I go, I'm bound to find them. I've got a long life ahead of me. I don't plan on dying anytime soon.
You would earn the eternal respect of my order, but I can tell you that many who are better trained, wiser, and older than you have failed for hundreds of years to find those stones. I wouldn't hold your breath.
Many elves get old, and they give up, and they lay to rest. I'm never gonna do that. I'm gonna keep running around and having fun, and you know what? I've already found one thing that was lost, and I'm just gonna keep doing it.
I'm sure there was a time when I could have fooled myself much as you have. I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. I'll follow you as far as the bridge up here, and then I'm afraid I have to head back towards Dankwood. I hope your lightning
That
serves
place's
you well.
dirt tastes weird.
Well, Kalman, please remember my name, Velostil. I'm gonna be the one that finds the hearts.
I hope I see you again, and not just your stone in the clutches of some trafficker. Watch yourself, and be well, and be wary. These lands are full of horrors.
I always do.
He'll salute you. He'll nod to each of your friends, and he pulls up his hood, and he goes on his merry way to the northwest, towards the far reaches of the Dankwood, on a quest of unknown sorts. And you are able to cross the river and head south into the hills beyond.
Good luck, rock elf guy.
I can't believe people would just sell a human.
I can. You're all really annoying.
We are going to wrap right there. Let me do the XP thing.
In my notes,
Oh,
guys.
I got like 1 XP that whole game.
So much to my notes. No, we get XP for exploring new things.
Yeah, it's only 1. I only got 1 XP this whole game. I've done nothing else interesting.
Experience.
I've been manipulating Dahlia like this whole session. I say manipulating because I'm telling her don't go with this really terrible old lady.
Yeah. You're manipulating her for the good of herself.
Maybe.
Josh.
We also almost got her trafficked.
It's
Yep.
true. You think
wasn't gonna
Mrs.
eat that
Polmore
food.
would have
Yeah, but
fared
that's
well
not
here?
our fault.
We
I wasn't gonna
saved Mrs. Polmore. Maybe.
Debatable.
Maybe.
I wasn't
Let's
gonna eat
clarify,
the food
maybe.
or the drink there anyway, though, because I mean my character just doesn't.
All right.
We
I
didn't eat
was.
it when Marigold offered it to us either.
I was. It was free.
I was ready to scarf anything down.
All right. Did you participate in the game session?
No.
Bill,
Gain
it's two.
1. Did you travel through at least one hex on the game map that you had not visited before? Boom.
Not
Everybody
even a
gets
little
another
bit.
one. Did you discover a new adventure site?
That's the end.
Is that the end?
The
That's
wolf's
the
belly.
end. We had
Yeah.
to spend. You said
Yeah.
we were going to spend
Yeah,
a thing
yeah, yeah.
exploring.
Yeah, that's fine. The inn is an adventure site. Did you defeat one or more monsters? No. Did you find a
Mrs.
treasure
Palmer?
worth a gold or more? No. Did you build a functioning
Wait,
stronghold?
we found,
No.
Wait, we found the heart. Well, I guess he found the heart, but we were there.
He did all the work.
What about the bow thing that you found?
I already had it.
She had that.
Okay.
She had been carrying it with her. Did you activate your pride?
Yes.
All the
I
people that
did.
did do it?
I tried to, but I didn't need to roll.
Yeah.
I
Did you
activated
suffer?
mine and then I lost it. Does
Did
that
you
count?
suffer as a result of your dark secret? I wanted Bill to have to charge back into the blood mist so that he would get this XP, but I don't think
I was
that
about
counts.
to.
I know you would
I was
have,
about to.
but you didn't have to go back in, so I don't think it's going to count. The
No, I don't think so.
Let's see, AN, Velas, Grunrock, no. Velas.
And yes, he lost his pride.
What's Velas's? I'm thinking.
The Ross Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Velas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yours
Yes!
counts. Fergello, no. And AN, no. Not directly this time.
For the pride or dark secret?
Dark Secret.
Dark Secret.
Oh, okay. Yeah. no.
Did you risk your life for another PC? Bill would have gotten 2 XP if he had to charge back into the Blood Mist, but I think that's a no for this one. And did you perform an extraordinary action of some kind? Anybody who can come up with a suggestion?
Joe
A one-
extraordinarily
Yep.
Yeah,
did not get a success.
I vote for Joe.
Said 1%
nice.
chance.
I don't think
recognize
failing a bunch of die
common
rolls counts as performing an extraordinary
Well, who are
action.
you to decide that?
He survived the blood mist. He was
did?
dead center of the
Yeah.
blood mist. and
Yeah,
survived.
bad thing happened to a
did.
bunch of people. I'm giving none for this one. None. That's the end of the list. We will resume here in 2 weeks' time. That will be on December the 14th for anybody who's watching. Update your notes. Hit me up with questions after if you have any. And this is the Wanderers Guild signing off until next time. And we will be posting character profiles. And I'm happy to say that all of the characters in that profile video are still alive at the end of this session. So we will be posting that video before we post the recording of this one on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us so that we can actually post a schedule and do more types of videos and things. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.